Incoming transmission.
Welcome to Saving Star Trek, a show talking about one of my favorite shows, Enterprise. I am Linda Park. I play Hoshi Sato and also Empress Sato. So enjoy this show. I love that it's finding a whole new life on the streaming services. And you better hit that like button or Empress Sato will not be happy. I mean, she could make a storm happen, and she could really make your life hard. Anyways, enjoy the show, hit that like button, and thank you for being a fan of Enterprise.
Hey everybody, hello and welcome to Saving Star Trek. I'm here with the bridge crew, and we have got one of the most probably topical episodes of Star Trek ever made. It has its fingers into all sorts of stuff. It has implications throughout the franchise, and I think maybe even in one episode a thesis for why we lost Enterprise. So hello on my behalf, and I turn it over to the crew. Guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to my bridge crew.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Resistance is advised in this case.
Yes. Resistance is sometimes automatic too. It's built into your denobulin DNA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone is scared of sharks, this is basically Shark Week on Saving Star Trek, where every shark throughout world history tonight will be jumped for Star Trek.
I thought
Enterprise.
you meant that Admiral Teague is like, having his aunt's friend is in town, and he's going to be really upset by the episode.
I mean,
I used to call that Shark Week with my wife's friend, you so to speak. I called that Shark Week.
For me,
blood in the water, so to speak.
Shark Week is about 4 to 7 days every month with my spouse.
Yeah. I mean, that can happen too. But
it was the worst.
I was
Shark
speaking
Year.
in a filmography type situation here, folks. Not cinema, TV, media. Not any other shark. Although if you want to
politics,
eat shark,
don't bring up cinema.
Yeah.
Oh wait, she's out of office now. You can bring her up.
I don't know. If it is who I think it is, you still have to say nice things about her, or else you end up, with 2 to the back of the head from yourself. Just saying.
different senator. I think
okay.
Cinema's more likely to roll over you and break some of your ribs or something, right?
Yes. Oh, that's cinema. Yeah.
Steal your lunch. Yeah. Weird spelled cinema. Hi everybody. Wow. Okay, so we've got an episode of Star Trek that is wow. This is basically an apology, in my opinion, by the Enterprise writers for Star Trek First Contact. That's the best I could come up with. They're like, you don't have to believe in our stupid movie anymore. We're going to make our movie so impossible and so ridiculously out of canon to our own show that there's no way our show and our movie can exist in the same world. It's going to be fun. And we have some fun stuff for you, including an original Star Trek adventure put together by me. So hello, RRTNZ. A+ for this episode. Archer again shows why he's a great captain. In the wider context of Trek, all kinds of problems are created, but I don't give a shit. I've got faith in the heart, baby. Sean is kind of going with the same thing. He's going to try to not think about its implications to other Star Trek, but it's not Star Trek. We'll get into that at length. It's a good episode. I just wish they created a new enemy instead of using the Borg. Gavin Blackburn, is it a movie tie into like Nemesis, or is it just an attempt? This felt like a fourth and long by the show. It's just like minute and a half left on the clock.
Not only a fourth and long, it's like a Jets fourth and long, where you've been screwing up the whole game, the whole season. You've already been eliminated from the playoffs. The owners are saying, if you don't win, we're going to get another 40-plus-year-old quarterback to replace you. And you've got like a 25% completion rate on the day.
I've been in plenty of those games, believe me, you know what? Welcome to Gavin Blackburn. You know what? We're going to have the M5 in tonight's show. It's part of the skit. Welcome, Buddy is here, and he's right. I'm into his advice. And you know what? I guess one of the things we can talk about up front is at the end of all good things. And did I miss anybody? Who else is here? Hi, all. Hello, Ariel Ballet. It's good to see you, and good to see your avatar. How are you doing? You know what? Welcome to all. Lazy, also lazy. That's the reason why I'm not gonna fuss too much. Just wow, man, wow, shakes her head. For shame, shame. You're all lucky you're forgiven women. I'd really let you have it. We're glad you're a forgiven woman, and you know what? Please forgive us. Our wives and girlfriends do, right? Sometimes.
Sometimes. Why do you think we're all here?
No, it's not forgiveness. It's never forgiveness. It's just, I'm just going to let it go for a while until the next argument. Yeah, then it was the next argument, then it comes, and then you did it again.
Well, there goes my plan. I was like, she lets him stream and build models. We just need to clone Sean's wife, and I'll be fine. But there goes that plan.
Are you kidding? I get in trouble for things I haven't done yet.
Well, that was a good movie. So that's with all marriages, with Tom Cruise. You know,
yeah, it's like a Minority Report over here.
Yeah,
my shirt off. My shirt off. I need to get like 50 likes, and I'll turn it on the camera, and I'll show you my chest for a moment. Why not? 50 likes, I'll do it.
Well, knowing the predilections of the bots, I think you're okay. I think you're okay.
By the way, I want to ask. I want to thank everyone who came through last week and watched the show. Holy smoke, did we ever have a fantastic viewership for last week's episode, which was not even that good of an episode. We had 531 views, or 555 views for last week's show. The average hang time was representative. It was pretty high. It dragged up the watch time for the whole channel. Everybody, thank you so much for coming through. And if you haven't been here before, you know how it goes. We set up the show for a little while. We start watching at about 30 minutes in. At that point, if you go ahead about 44 minutes, you'll be at the point where we're wrapping up if you don't want to hear our thoughts during the episode. Or if you want to watch along with us, there's a way, you can do it at home. And if you're watching later, of course, the episode we're watching is the Paramount Plus version. It's the latest version. There's no commercials. And it's about 42 minutes long every week. Man, Star Trek is jumping the shark in the movies. The movies, less and less enthusiasm. And on TV, it is really running into problems. I just showed the guys, I have like 17,000 words about how angry I am about this episode. But one of the things I think we could say is there's narrative convenience and continuity issues. We've got the Borg's threat is like, it's really inconsistent, and it's weakened by this episode. This episode so hurts Star Trek. Its narrative structure and its lack of focus on the cast. The cast is barely in this. The mutual exclusivity of the First Contact and Regeneration are just at odds. These episodes are at odds. The limited relevance of Star Trek Generations, the broader impact on Star Trek's original continuity. And you know what? I found this episode to be upsetting, and after watching it, I was kind of a little bit inspired, and I wrote this as though we were a fleet. My fellow Star Trek fans, First Contact and Regeneration are a narrative train wreck, maybe the worst in Star Trek's original continuity. The Borg sphere in First Contact, it's blown to bits in 2063, with debris shooting towards the Enterprise, not crashing in the Arctic. Yet Regeneration has a convenient Borg ship and drones chilling in the ice. Like the Enterprise, E forgot how to scan. It's a desperate retcon. The stories are hostile. Only one can be true. The Borg and Regeneration are weak, taken out by Archer's primitive ship. Nothing like the Juggernaut in First Contact. Phlox shrugs off assimilation in hours, breaking every single Borg rule. Time travel's a mess, too. Cochrane is drunk on first contact, but somehow spills the Borg secrets in Regeneration. Add Generation's Elorian Borg hints, the Starfleet's cluelessness, and in TNG, it's nonsense. Regeneration's bit players hog the screen, and in Predestination Paradox screws the timeline, echoing Voyager's Borg weakening flops like Scorpion. Fans hate it, and it feels like a cheap ratings grab. These stories don't just clash, they damage Star Trek's soul. This desperate attempt for relevance may have been the final nail in this show, and by extension, the original continuity we love. All hail Star Trek. Hail William Shatner. Hail the great Gene Roddenberry, and hail the 6605 continuity. May God have mercy on our souls and deliver us from Kurtzilla. So say we all.
So say we all.
All right. I don't even need to do a plot analysis on this one.
Yep.
Do you agree? Are we
Jerem's a Cylon. He doesn't have to say it.
So said a super majority of us anyway.
Let's say I agree to a point, but he didn't quite go far enough.
Ooh. Well,
Teague the moderate. I have
closing remarks.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Listen, I created a little Star Trek adventure for you guys today, and if you want, I could release it as a video to channel members. I think it's probably destined for that. This episode requires a little bit of homework, by which I mean I wasn't going to make you guys watch the whole movie, but Star Trek Generations to a degree and absolutely First Contact, as everyone knows, are deeply woven into this episode. So, Mr. Carter, can you please bring the ship's M5 computer online?
Oh, yeah. Do I have that? There we go.
Mr. Kirk, you worked on the M5 computer, right?
I did.
It's stable again now. See, our M5 worked fine, by the way.
I assisted and facilitated Dr. Richard Daystrom.
Do we have that as an asset to turn on the M5? I'm looking.
I'm going to turn on the M5. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's labeled. Yeah, you know what? When I give the word initiate protocol Starfleet archival, if you see it at the final asset.
Oops.
Final video asset is Starfleet archival. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to get our M5 computer. If you join us in the Star Trekkiness here, our M5 computer is going to try to hack Starfleet Command, and we're going to hack the Federation database. You're not really a good Star Trek rebel. You're not really a good renegade for the United Federation of Planets until you hack the Starfleet database. Am I right, guys?
Yes.
That's the standard bad guy stuff. Yeah,
sir.
All right. So, with no further ado, Mr. Carter, have the M5 attempt to hack Starfleet archives.
Okay, here we go. Commencing.
Unable to comply.
This unit is the ultimate achievement in computer evolution.
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
Time travel.
But if they changed history, why are we still here? Thank you for your attention.
All right. Ariel Ballet asks, what's the problem with the Borg being in Antarctica? That's why we just showed that video display to you, our fans. And I hope you enjoyed it. Little original Star Trek adventure from your buddy Admiral Teague. We hacked the Starfleet mainframe and we got some information off the Starfleet database. As we saw in the captured log from this Enterprise B, the Nexus, as said by Guinan, the Elorian, cannot be entered with a ship. But we did, in fact, see the moment that James T. Kirk entered the Nexus. And, hail James T. Kirk, my friend from the Academy.
Yes, indubitably.
We went to the Academy together.
Yes.
I was friends with Jim Kirk.
The other thing about this is, how much money did they spend in production to get that sphere to blow up into atoms for the big screen?
Atoms.
A couple dollars, I think.
Yeah, that's 2 cherry bombs.
They really go far with the explosion. In fact, this is what I noticed when I watched it slowly. The explosions used to be done like this in the days before CGI, guys. We build a model and we hang it from a star field on the ceiling or a blue screen on the ceiling. Then we blow that model up and we film it in slow motion. At slow motion speed, like really fast, and then slow that down to get the explosion. Something to do with like high frame rate during the explosion, and then you slow it down slower, like the explosion's a little slower, and then they enhance it with like by hand, like colored it in somehow. So that was how they did. So the explosion is always falling towards you in the original continuity with the analog effects. So when the Borg sphere blows up, as you can see, it does not fall towards, it's not Antarctica, it's the Arctic, but same thing, same difference, right? At least, the only thing about this I didn't have a problem with is that it's at least over the Northern Hemisphere. Everything else, all wrong. And it's good to see everybody here. And hit those like and follow buttons. And if you're coming through later and we've hit 50 likes, you can still hit those like and follow buttons. I hope you guys like the video, but as you can see, not only did the Borg sphere blow up, it blew up with such force, it rocked the Enterprise. And they did a little extra work with that explosion. If you guys noticed what happens, and I had to cut it, but if you watch the movie, what happens is they fire a full spread of quantum torpedoes at it. The torpedoes all penetrate, and the Borg sphere starts to blow up inside, and it blows up from what's called secondary explosions.
He said penetrate.
Oh. Hey, RTNZ says this episode is problematic for Trek continuity, but on its own merits, it's solid and shows a calm, competent commander and a crew of professionals. I would agree that the performance in this, I have a lot of praise for the performances in this. And thank you, RRTNZ, for the $5 New Zealand super chat. Crimlon is here. Crimlon, you missed the video. You're going to have to go back and watch it later. It's pretty good. If I do say so myself. And that wasn't an editing mistake where you see Data after Bev says, if they erased history, why are we still here? I wanted you to just see him sitting there and know that, yeah, he gave us some bullshit. That was one of the most. That was the lowest moment of why are we still here? Because Data said some stuff. There's no reason why they were still there.
That's just a throwaway line. Like they're like, okay, we tried to explain it. At least we acknowledged the plot hole.
It's so Galaxy Quest. She speaks for the computer or the audience, and then Data, the computer, answers her. It was absolutely insane, and I was just like. I remember, I did a Picard facepalm in the movie theater when I saw it. I did not like this movie from the first time I saw it. I thought it was a good action movie, but it was, almost completely devoid of Star Trek-ness, and it had something I hated, and I'm so glad it didn't become a feature of Star Trek. We had a strong woman put her finger right in Picard's face and yell at him good. You broke the little ships. Good thing that didn't become standard in Star Trek. Signs of things to come, huh?
I detect some sarcasm there, but RTNZ, you have a good point, and that is the standpoint I'm going to approach this episode, or try to. I have seen it a number of times, but it's been a little while. So when we watch it tonight, I'm going to try to turn off my lore, my memory engrams, and try to disengage them and just watch it.
Turn them off.
Yeah, I'm going to turn them off.
How much booze have you had to drink this evening?
None. Yeah.
Pre-game. Oh,
not yet, right?
No, but I'm gonna do my best to turn it off and pretend this is the first. I haven't seen any other Trek except Enterprise. So
okay. That should, I guess, you know what? That is an extremely valid experiment because that is the viewpoint the show's trying to take.
Right.
That is the show's viewpoint, that they don't know anything. Now, for the greater Star Trek continuity,
I'm just worried. I'm worried here that Sean's going to have to turn off so many engrams that he's going to be asking people if he can finish what he's talking about.
I'm used to asking for that. Oh,
hey.
Let's see if I can.
What I'm saying. I've finished what I'm saying.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Excuse me. Can I finish?
Please clap. This is the please clap episode of Star Trek too, right?
I just get a good for you.
Oh man, I don't know. Like, honestly, is this creative hiding of the fact the budget has been slashed to the bone? A lot of solo episodes. What did we do? We got a 4th season out of a 3-year deal. Is that what happens? Where people are in so few episodes and do so little time in front of the camera this season? Like, T'Pol and Archer are the only ones in most every episode. There's still one where T'Pol really turns around.
They had a 5-year deal, or supposedly had a 5-year deal.
But that network's collapsing under the weight of all of its financial obligations. You'd have to imagine that, like, getting the money to keep Star Trek on was probably their biggest priority, but they couldn't pull it off. It was so stupid. It was supposed to be the anchor for a whole network.
Yeah,
and that was a weakening blow.
They started.
Oh, what is our TNZ saying?
He's complimenting you, sir.
I'm a man of subtle wisdom, sir. This episode only relies briefly on Enterprise characters making mistakes, given that they've never met a Borg. These are wholly reasonable errors. Okay, yeah. But there are some writing errors. It's not the characters, it's the writers. But
speaking of
writing errors, can you say that again? You sounded a little bit like President number 47.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
There were writing errors.
You know, I've noticed the 47th president and the 45th president sound exactly the same. I want to know why, and this needs to be strongly looked into.
If it was up to me, I would have written a fantastic episode. It would have been unbelievable.
Paul, she's the best. Just absolutely fantastic. The best.
Oh, great breasts. Great breasts on that one.
You're turning into Star Trek Pacino. Great ass. All right, calm down. We're all going to take a little Hyronolin. And
she would have won the Miss Alpha Quadrant.
As Ariel Ballet tunes out and we lose our entire female audience. Please don't leave, Ariel. And hey, maybe we'll get some ladies back when we move to William Shatner being our ladies man. You get to see him, ladies.
Helen Muir, from Dagger in the Mind. Helen. Oh.
RRTNZ with a good one. If you're gonna jump the shark, do it at Transwarp. Oh, so true. Oh, it's so many things in this episode. We're gonna fire our phasers at warp speed.
Yeah, somehow the phasers can go faster than warp.
Right. Yeah. And like any warp speed combat comes like they're talking about how hard it is to fire at warp and TOS.
I've always had a problem with when they're firing, especially like torpedo. Even in the motion picture, they're in the wormhole. I mean, they're going at like warp 2, and they fire a torpedo that's going to go warp 3, and it doesn't work that way.
Yes, it does. You can fire in a wormhole.
No,
photon torpedo away.
For a moment. You'll have terminal velocity on your side, and like the what you're leaving, you'll accelerate from that because you're already going that fast. But here's the analogy: in Korea, a lot of our pilots, after they would fire, like for whatever reason, there was extremely accurate gunfire from the enemy MiGs into the cockpit in the front of the U.S. planes. And it took a little while to realize that it was actually their own bullets that were catching up to them.
Yeah.
So it's friction, and the fact that the bullets are only propelled once, right? They have a point of impact. They They start flying. You fire them, and they immediately start slowing down. You stay the same speed. So a moment later, you catch up to them.
Yeah, it's the whole analogy. Like if you're on a bicycle and you throw a tennis ball, the tennis ball is going to travel at the speed of the bicycle plus what you threw it. But especially with phasers, which are like if you're on a bicycle and you turn on a flashlight, the light that emitted from your flashlight is not traveling the speed of light plus your bicycle speed.
You're right.
We need radioactive on here to explain that.
The only thing that would work.
We need a really solid warp field theorist.
Yeah.
If only I had a quantum discriminator so that we could figure it out. Hello, Lombardi 1969. Welcome.
Hey, Lombardi.
Miskatonic Madman. It's good to see you guys. Hello to you both. We have so many special things coming up in the next 6 weeks. Tonight, we're going to take a look at basically how they destroyed Star Trek. Now, this episode aside, this patient's on life support, and we're just hitting it in the chest, the paddles. And this is how they messed up Star Trek, in my opinion. It starts with a mistake that's made in the end of an episode we all love. At the end of All Good Things, Picard and the Q have a little talk, and the Q charges Picard with time travel. Remember that? He's like, now your mission is not just like the final frontier of time of space, but also like all possibilities and all dimensions and all times. Like that quick little thing he kind of drops on him. And then we get time travel in the first 2 movies. So
time. This is no time to talk about time. That's my drunk Marina Sirtis.
Time is the fire in which we burn. God. Right now. That's my imitation of Dr. Bashir's uncle. You like how I stuck him in the middle of that video so he had to watch it too? It's like, no, death isn't going to save you, Soran. We had to see it, so do you.
Oh, boy.
Those are the rules. It's like I saw
call
it,
him
now
also
you do too.
Ran. I call him also Ran because he's such a generic villain. The least they could have done was give him a mustache. I
give Dr. Soran credit for this much. At least not Dr. Soran. I give Malcolm McDowell credit for this much. He went to the papers and said, they're like, oh, you just worked in the Star Trek movie. How was it? He goes, the movie sucks. I killed Captain Kirk. I shot him in the back. He didn't make any difference whatsoever. It's a garbage movie. And they were like, whoa. And all the fans were like, wait, Captain Kirk dies making no difference. So that bridge falling on him is an improvement from whatever happened. They reshot the ending based on what Malcolm McDowell said. So hats off to Malcolm McDowell. Honestly. He was a guy who didn't always have all the fame and money in the world. So, like, the fact that he would say that on behalf of the fans, he was a true friend of Star Trek. I wonder do you think Bashir heard about that one? Do you think Siddig Al-Fidel heard about that one? And, like, that's when he changed his name. He's like, I had nothing to do with that, man. That's a mistake. Malcolm McDowell's not my uncle. That could not have been pleasant to hear. If you're the writer of the Star Trek movie and you find out that your star is out there, JT or Germ, what do you think the reaction was when he said that?
Back then the reaction would probably be, how do we fire him without it getting on TMZ? But I was grateful him saying that. They were wise to the Streisand effect before Barbra Streisand ever did her famous thing. So I would bet that they probably tried to bury it and ignore it as much as possible. Because you could back then, because you owned all the media outlets, right?
Yeah. I mean, that would have been the right thing. RTNZ had a good question about like Star Trek physics, where I got caught up in trying to figuring that one out. Put a pin in that one, and we'll try to remember to come back to it. Because that one is definitely a question for Sean, who stepped away for a moment. He'll be back.
No, I'm back. I'm here.
Oh, okay. This one seems to be to you. By your logic, you could fire a phaser. Could you fire a phaser at warp, but only the ship that was traveling at a slightly slower speed directly behind you? It would be like a mine.
Oh yeah,
more like a mine than a phaser beam. That doesn't upset Star Trek physics.
No.
Anyone want to?
And you could also say, like, with a warp field, you're technically not traveling faster than light. The space in front of you is expanding faster than light with a warp drive. So if you were in a wormhole, maybe the torpedo would go faster than you were traveling.
Well, the torpedoes will go faster because they have their own warp drive.
Oh, okay.
In canon, they all go at least warp 8.
Really? Oh, okay.
That even in TOS?
In TOS, they're all warp based. Wow. When it gets onto DS9, they have multiple types, but they all have a default warp based torpedo.
I never knew that, but I mean, I guess thinking on it, I would have. If you asked me, do they travel warp? I would have said a lot of the time. JT, you know what? I think that was a fantastic imitation of Deanna. And guys, just so you know, he came to the bridge wearing standard uniform today. Usually he wears the purple dress, but we had a little talk last week about wearing the lavender dress on the bridge. You know what? Before we start this one, just real quick,
I didn't have enough time to shave my chest appropriately.
We have reached the moment where we're supposed to launch the episode. Let me get the link out there for you guys. I kind of hold on to this now. Like this is the moment where I wait for my favorite comment from the from our AI friends.
Well, yeah. They didn't want to hop in and give you likes because you said at 50 that you have a questionable rating on your YouTube stream at that point.
I guess I have to be like William Shatner and put foundation over my nipples to keep my
well, the bots have a serious case of the not gays, right? So it's
the not gays. Didn't they take over Germany in the middle of the 1930s? Right?
No comment. We're not at Patterns of Force yet. Okay.
We have so many great episodes for Pride Month. We are going to listen. This is going to be, we're going to have some good, hey, Phantom Outsider. Guys, listen, Pride Month has been around for like 35 fucking years. And for like the last 25, it's been a little much. And the last 10, it's been corporately underwritten. And it's been really big every year. So we were thinking about doing something for Juneteenth too, just to be dicks. But for Pride Month, we're going to do some Star Trek stuff that's like, we're going to have a little fun with Pride. We're not mocking it too much. We're not saying you shouldn't have pride in the name of love, but we are saying, it's time for satire. We're allowed to satirize it. Fuck you. Come on. No self-respecting gay man would back off of satire anyway, right? I mean, come on. All those Mel Brooks movies had somebody go to see them over and over. It wasn't just all of us. Hey, Susan Dolan, what's going on? Good to see you. Come on, it's musical theater, right? We love it, but come on. There's got to be some people out there who appreciate it.
Hey, I have an idea.
Right.
It's more the progress people I have a problem with than the pride people.
I just had an idea, and I'll run it by you real quick. What if during June we can watch The Outcast? We can watch D8 Space Nine's Rejoined. We can watch the TNG episode where Beverly meets up with the Trill who kisses her when they change.
You know what? There's going to be Pride months for the rest of our run. So now
there is a copy episode events in Enterprise here where there is like the third the odd man out, so to speak, to reproduce with that one species. And
that's a great episode.
They rip off the TNG episode where Riker goes after I don't know. I don't want to get your channel.
Well, that's The Outcast.
The attention. Yeah.
The Outcast. It's a single.
Oh, here we go.
This is different.
Yeah.
Cogenitor. Yeah, No, that's a great one because there's three genders. There's three genders in that species. That's a really cool sci-fi story.
So that's a good one to play for.
These are our Pride Month shows. You ready? Week 1, we don't know what week 1 of June we'll have. The week of the 14th is Pride Day, Flag Day, and Trump's birthday all at once. So we're
you could just watch The Wizard of Oz.
Or Horizon. What's the weirdest, gayest movie that has a Star Trek actor in it?
Oh, there's Oh God, there's one I remember watching. It was a movie about AIDS, and Patrick Stewart played a very flamboyant character. Like he was nutsy flamboyant.
That one might be a little bit of it. We can't do that. That would be the one line that I would say on Pride Month. Like we can't.
Well, we also should watch
HIV too much.
The Search for Spock, but that's kind of a transphobic movie because they sabotage the trans warp drive because they were afraid of being caught.
No, but Scotty did
want to go up the shaft. Yeah. He wanted to go up the shaft. Also, he wanted to get his hands on the amp on the cells. So I don't know, like. Yeah, he wanted, it's like when Kirk went to that primitive planet. It's like when you said you wanted to have sex with me in your mud hut. This isn't what I thought.
Yeah,
we're in a mud hut here. And hell, everybody, there's an episode of Frasier where Stewart plays a gay opera director who falls in love with Frasier, who strings him along for tickets. I remember that one. And also like all the gifts.
Yeah.
He gets a bunch of gifts and then he starts getting like better. He starts finding out where the best places to eat in town are. He gets like a better tailor. He finds like a better barber. It was like everything, his whole lifestyle levels up for a little while.
It was a very funny episode.
I thank my gay friends for finding me my hairstylist and for telling me not to wear those Ed Hardy clothes as soon as I bought them. You need to throw those away, Teague. What are you talking about? It's like, listen. And they sat me down. I watched John and Kate +8, and I threw all those Ed Hardy shirts away. It's like, yeah, thank you for telling me that before I wore these more than a couple of times. All right.
Okay. I'm ready to watch.
Yes, I'm grabbing the episode now. And I think the next one we'll watch after this is going to be First Flight.
It is the next one sequentially. It is decent enough to watch, yes.
I have some bad news for everyone. I have to see it, so you do too. If you go into our theater.
Okay. I'm there.
I'll eventually sign in, at which point I'll be able to select media. Here we go. All right. So here we go. I have to see it, so you do too. Guess what we get at the beginning of this? A Strange New Worlds trailer, guys. Ooh, it's gonna be fun, fun stuff, fun stuff.
Still no launch date.
Still pumping that.
July 25th is the new launch date. Their launch date is that they didn't make it into Pride Month. I was so fucking happy. I was doing backflips. Push back like 4 more weeks though, which means that like it's still 10 weeks in the future. It has stayed 10 weeks in the future since January, though. So, however close they say it's getting, the time to Strange New Worlds keeps staying the same. So, here's look at that. At least their visualization, the Enterprise right here looks okay. But I think everyone's going to get sick, bad robot, and secret hideout, or I call them bad hideout and secret robot miscegenation in this. The retrofuturism of Fantastic Four will be seen here in a way that makes you sick. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. For our friends,
who's that?
It's puke.
Is that Kirk?
No, this I've said this before. 3 weeks ago when we saw this?
Oh no, that is
Buck
Kirk.
Rogers had better. Buck Rogers had better costumes.
The fuck is this?
But at least Buck Rogers he was not wearing a uniform. He was just wearing something officious, right? This is supposed to be an actual service uniform where the man can zip down to the middle of his chest, apparently, and there's no rank anywhere on the uniform.
Is this supposed to be
Kirk?
Kirk?
On his face says that he feels
that's
the
a
same way
rip-off
we
of
do
Captain
about it.
Proton. Just look at the decor around it. That is not their BS Starfleet.
It's not their usual uniforms. This is their Captain Kirk. This is Paul, whatever his name, Tagliabue, the new Captain Kirk. I mean, William Shatner wished the guy luck, and he said be nice to him, so I won't beat him up. I will say this. There was an episode, his love interest is Khan's descendant. Yeah, the only good news is Christina Chiang is pretty hot. They nerf her looks. they like strap her boobs down. If you look at Christina Chong's ex, she is gorgeous. They are doing everything they can to ugly her up. There's an episode where her and Kirk get sucked back in time to our time, of course, so they can run around in our time and our sets and our streets. Kirk keeps saying they're in Montreal as they walk past one New York landmark after another, but it's all done on like the volume. And then like they're alone, they're afraid, they're desperate, they're scared, and they're looking at each other, and she looks at him and he looks at her, and she like starts to close her eyes and open her mouth, and he goes right in there and kisses her, but she didn't ask, and within 1 minute he's dead. And then the episode ends, she wakes up, time travel people tell her it didn't really happen, and she can't tell anyone, and now she works for them, making everyone in the crew now working for 2 organizations. Isn't that great? Now there's Puke. He still hasn't blocked me on X. I don't know why.
They still are having issues buying lights for the bridge.
A holodeck? And why does that look like? Why does that look like they're going to introduce the Guardian? I'm sorry, Trelane. Why does this look kind of like Trelane's environment? And is that?
So they didn't have holodecks on these ships? I'm just going to point that out.
Ship?
No rec
Not
room.
at that point, no.
No, yeah.
Well, Star Trek continues, and I know it's not canon, but it in one of the episodes, in the first one, they're hinting at the first holodecks where they're experimenting with one.
They do install them in the second season. I believe it's the second season of the animated series, which would be the 5th year of the 5-year mission.
Yeah, so that's like 7 years after what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they're once again effing with canon. They're just doing what they want.
7 years, it's 20 years. They're 13 years at the very minimum 9 years before Captain Kirk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck Kurtzman. Fuck Kurtzman in his ass.
Oh, there's Trelane. This is Trelane.
Who is that? Is that Pike?
It looks like Martin Freeman, but it's not. It's Trelane.
It looks more like Jeff Goldblum.
That 1/2 second of special effect?
Oh, why is he smiling?
Because Vulcans are more emotional than humans. Didn't you know that? Oh, God, he's in it now?
Oh, is that Patton Oswalt? Oh, fuck me.
Oh,
why?
This is not the Patton that I enjoy.
I hate him.
I do not like this Patton.
You got to get through this.
Yeah. I saw it. Now you do. Now you have to too.
Mystery? There ain't no mystery. Maybe a mystery.
No, there's always a mystery. It's just never a solution.
And the ladies' brigade is gonna do this.
Carmen Sandiego down there with the rack and the fuchsia hat. That's Connie. She's a descendant of Khan. I can't remember her real name, so I call her Connie. It looks like, thank God, poor Melissa Navia didn't have to shave her freaking head this year. God, I hope they let her keep her hair like that. She has been begging for years. She's been begging for years to let.
It's probably a wig because you notice they all dressed up in current day cheap wardrobe at Paramount.
Retro futuristic early 60s wardrobe.
Yeah. So why do they have to make it an all women holodeck experience? There's never been a time in Star Trek where they require it be an all men holodeck experience, except for Worf's Rite of Ascension ritual, where that was not because it was a religious thing, not anything else. It was a legitimate reason.
Worf was a Klingon Catholic.
It was a Klingon bris, is what it was.
Basically,
they cut it off with a batleth. I mean, it's a smaller one, but it still hurts.
Optimistic. Well, they have 2 in this continuity, right? But
so we're just having an all women quest, just so we can have.
I think that's
a
Dr.
ladies' night out.
Mabanga in back. So yeah, all women. On the far left, Nuhura, they don't have her like in her shit with her shaved head. They make her get, and she must be relieved. And she's not in her like fucking destructively ugly uniform. So right here, you can see she's got stuff going on. Like all these women are actually decent looking. They make them horrible looking. And one of the things they do that is really confusing to me is they make the face model their body girl. Chapel here on the left, she is all face. Her body is only okay. Like she's not bad looking. It's just that like, you know, it's not like she doesn't have a good figure. Just leave it at that. She does not have a good figure. Like small,
she doesn't have any figure.
Her shoulders are smaller than her hips. She doesn't have any chest. She's got a big butt. I mean, I understand this is common, but like, it's fuck that. A touch of analog. What is that supposed to mean?
Means they cheaped out on the digital.
What the
effects.
fuck is with that prop? When Disparu is right, man. Oh, you're right. This poor, look at the look on her face. She's not acting. This is how she feels about being there. She hates this job. This is 8 years of this for this poor woman.
It kind of looks like a sex toy that you'd buy on Amazon where it's all questionable spelling and Chinese phrasing. That phone, you saw it.
The best special effect so far is her Botox.
Jeez.
A lip filler.
They left the romaine lettuce in the crisper.
Yeah.
John, do you keep the romaine lettuce in the crisper so it stays a little more fresh? Is this the lettuce? Can we keep this romaine lettuce? Is it still fresh?
Oh my god!
You know, I remember they used to have Jensia's hair pulled back because you were working an actual job in a dangerous official, like military style environment, not like sending you to the hairdresser all day just to show up to work.
No, what I do, Admiral, I paint my lettuce green so it looks fresh.
See, they ruined her hair. Look.
Oh, this poor woman. She was on X begging. She was in tears. Like, guys, when you watch this show, don't hate Ortegas. Hate Ortegas. Don't hate Melissa Navia. She actually, I think that they sucked her into this because she was normal and they wanted to ruin her. They're like, so what are you're going to vote for like the total crazy left agenda? She's like, I don't know. I'm going to think about it before I do anything and I'm not going to tell anybody. And they're like, she's not one of us. Her career's going somewhere. Let's put her on Star Trek. That'll show her. Yeah, she'll be around our woke friends. What do we do? We'll make her ugly. That'll teach her. I'm willing to believe it now. They're fucking spiteful people. And we'll make her the real bitch character. That Ortegas is in most episodes because she makes the least amount of money and she's a fucking asshole.
Are those supposed to be Gorn ships?
I think so, because last year the Gorn ship started an attack run at the first minute of episode 1, and we went back to it in the last minute of episode 10. And we only ever saw it on tactical. All right, guys, here comes the real Star Trek. It's off. My viewer's off. Okay, good. All right, pile into the theater, kids. We have the real stuff.
God, that was hard, Admiral. That was like worse than the agonizer booth.
Yeah, when I go to hell, that's what I'm going to have to watch for the rest of eternity. See, guys, not the Antarctic, so at least it went the right direction because it was over Bozeman, Montana, so they say.
He's like walking up to a bar. There's a Borg nightclub. I think this is the place. Oh, okay. They did okay with the CGI buildings. Better than they did with the Daniels stuff. Now, if they're picking this up with hand sensors, wouldn't their actual like big boy sensors on ships and stuff have picked this up a long time ago? Right? Sean, Admiral?
I agree with that.
Sorry.
No, I agree with that completely. And I would say this: we only have at this point 2 planets in our whole alliance, us and Vulculus or whatever, Vulcan. And over on Vulcan, they don't really need our help. But here, I would imagine that there's one planet that the humans have scanned every single centimeter of, and that's probably Earth. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. So and it's just sitting there on top, except for the Borg. They're frozen way beneath the ice. I guess the Borg were ejected from the ship red hot, like when you pull a hot dog out of the microwave.
This is one of those weeks where the intro song is like the best part.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to make the window smaller. It was lagging. Actually, it still is.
I heard the Windows function sound, but that's fine. I was wondering where it came from.
Cosme is kind of choppy. Yeah.
Yeah. When I made my browser window smaller.
I'm going to pause this for a moment. Everybody, you have a moment to refresh your Cosme, and I will refresh the main one, which is a word we're going to stop saying. Refresh your theater, and I will refresh the main one. So as we know, people like to be Weisenheimers around here and don't want people to have fun and have a watch party. All right. Did you just use your Windows function again? I heard the boop boop.
No, it shouldn't be transmitting my phone.
You might have heard me.
Yes,
I don't know.
That I heard it just there.
No.
It's like 2 little bongos. All right, so
might have been you.
We're at 2 minutes and 29 seconds. It's weird. Maybe it is. I hope not. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, go.
Much better. Much better.
Cool. Are you saying that because it's cold out and that female? I couldn't see her eye beams.
Slight bit of chop, but it's like 99% better.
And if you make your browser window a little smaller than your, to shrink it helps.
The smaller your screen is, the easier it flows. Yeah. This is just already was giving me a terrible feeling.
Yeah, you're already like, oh crap.
Yeah, the Borg sphere is too big.
This reminds me of, even by this point, I think we've had the Alien and Predator movies both, where the audience is well versed in like 3 or 4 previous Alien movies, and of course, near present day or naive, unsuspecting people walk into one of these threats that is going to get them in over their head, right?
Exactly. And by the way, hello to everyone over on the green band if you're there.
The thing about that is it can work,
we do have people,
but it's turning into such a sci-fi trope these days that I don't know if I get pulled into it quite as much anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean every Alien movie does the same exact thing.
Yes.
They use the transporter in this one, but if you watch it, Archer and Trip are both freaked out to get in it, or whoever, Archer and Reed.
Hey, it's Chris Elliott. That guy looks like Chris Elliott.
Wait till later when we see former New York Jets quarterback Eli Manning.
Is he in it?
No, but the guy looks just like him. It's like his twin. It might be this same guy, but when one guy walks in the dark and he never really pulls down his hood, and it looks so much like it's Eli Manning. You'll see him. I'll point to that when I see it. Bad job by Star Trek thinking those weird option things on the edge of our monitors were going to stick around, huh? What the hell did they do anyway?
This guy here, who's this actor? I've seen him before, and him and his buck teeth.
I know, he's familiar looking. It's not Admiral Forrest for a change. Could I date him? I mean, right? I'm not. I just like, hey, listen, I like guys.
Somebody's going to clip that.
Yeah. No, they can't because you can't clip my show. That was a lesson from week 10 of being a YouTuber. Turn off clips.
Hmm.
Oh, but they could record the sound.
Yeah,
they'll get you.
You have to work.
They'll
you have to work for it. If they do that much worth, more power to them. It's not snow. It's polyester flakes. Yeah, you can tell. I'm gonna guess the reason their faces aren't frozen is because these like extra like futuristic materials take care of them, and maybe there's like whatever. I agree, though. I mean, you know, it would have been worse covering their faces because we wouldn't have known anything because they're not our heroes. We needed to know that really quick.
Yeah. Hey, Wes Cagle.
You know, the location might have been the only, and hello, West, the only possible one was the Arctic, but they're trying to do a cheap version of the Thing here.
Yes, there is. They've got arms with blades on them, but they're not hostile. He can make a
spike, Sean.
His arm is a Snoopy snow cone machine. It will chop.
Guys, he's just descending to Seth Rogen. That's all. It's like he leaves his shuttle pod open in case someone wants to steal the radio too.
Well, there's no reason to assume they're hostile, and there's also no reason to assume they're not hostile. If you're just thinking about generic Alien X, you should take equal precautions for both scenarios, of which they promptly don't do.
If I'm a scientist, here's what I say. They've been here for 100 years. It's not going to be a big deal if we put them on ice for a few more days so we get some security up here. Good idea, guys. Also,
if they're supposed to be in the poles, their face is going to freeze the fuck off. Just saying.
You know what? On movie night at the Science Academy, if they showed these people the Thing, they'd be like, and we want this whole place wired to blow in case anything goes wrong, too.
Exactly.
They have literally unlimited time and resources.
Yeah, there is no hurry to be doing any of this. That's supposed to shoot polar bears, I think.
That's Eli.
Eli Manning?
Yeah, look at him. I'll rewind for this one moment. It looks just like Eli Manning. Here he comes. It's not really him, but it looks just like him. I thought it was him for a minute. I was like, holy shit. Ladies and gentlemen, New York Giants quarterback and Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
You don't have to anymore. All right, we're going to go and reinitiate the episode in 3, 2, 1, and action. And 8 minutes in, if not for the Borg, you wouldn't know this was Star Trek. At least this guy's a man and drinks black coffee, unlike Earl Grey tea.
Right.
By the way, I think this is the first episode I see where nobody eats. He spilled his coffee. I wonder if the weird sound I'm hearing is that my headphones might be running down. I got the other ones ready to go just in case.
Now, why is the Borg breathing? They're not supposed to be breathing.
If being a Borg is like being a virus now, there's no killing.
They start pulling out this transwarp coil.
What kind of warp coil?
Transwarp coil. That's the one they tried to steal in Voyager.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to steal that same coil again.
Positive to negative charge coil. Yes.
I like I like how that guy was
West.
I like how that guy was surprised that the Borg woke up, even though their cells were getting repaired, and like they knew that what was happening. But he's like, "Oh my god, he's awake now."
This is truly the future because they cleaned up San Francisco.
No, they just nuked it and started over.
I think history has shown us that the biggest litterers were the whales. So once we're mostly rid of them, San Francisco should be clean.
They send one shuttle pod, by the way.
Yeah.
Like all of their resources are basically focused on Earth, right? And maybe a couple real close colonies. They should be having more than one ship. This is the kind of Star Trek movie dumbness where the Enterprise is the only ship in range and they're in orbit at Utopia Planitia. And you're like, really?
I think what happens
the
is
only ship in range.
No, the Borg can flee in literally any direction, but it just so happens that in a direct line between our galaxy and the data, between our planet and the data quadrant, is the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I might call my most advanced ship. That's the only thing that makes sense. Their own ship that was so intact, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Why?
And this does interfere with the timeline. This episode cannot exist in a world where Star Trek First Contact is canon. Because we saw how fast Mr. Hawk was changing.
You're a little distant, Admiral.
We saw how...
There we go. That? Much better.
It's weird how the sides of the Blue Yeti don't pick up anything. You have to talk right into the front of it.
Right.
It's weird.
Weird.
This movie is... Yeah, this episode is hostile to the movie First Contact. They can't exist in the same continuity. First of all, Mr. Hawk proved that you turn into a Borg in seconds from these Borg. These are the most lethal Borg with the worst Borg sting we've ever saw.
Yeah.
And this...
Weirdos, that's who.
It's like, what would have been funny is like you hear a button sound and like a picture of Dylan Mulvaney pops up in the monitor. There have been different people throughout history who have replaced their body parts.
They referenced the Minars.
He's seen them, the Federation hasn't. That's pretty cool. Well, I guess if he's seen them, the Federation has because he's Federation aligned. Well,
they were heavily armed because they had so many extra arms laying around.
All those Borg arms.
Yeah. And man,
the one Borg was disarmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He put his hand on a strong modern woman.
I like her earpiece. It is cool.
I do like it too.
Bluetooth earpieces weren't really a thing like that yet either, if I remember right. In 2000.
Right, and hers probably has some more technology built into it, right?
Yeah.
Look at Mr. Mayweather. He's already been turned. I think Mayweather isn't telling anyone, but he's already part of the collective.
This is a cool scene here.
Yes.
They have the Borg cutting laser.
That scene right there with the Enterprise coming into frame was great. It was.
Yes. They should have been playing. And
by the way,
that would have been cool.
Yes. Well, they're using the movie score music. I think it's just First Contact's music.
definitely inspired if it's not.
The music in this episode is very good.
My belief is they retest the movie music because, like, we are so broke and we're doing all these special effects and stuff. We're so broke we kept our cast out of this episode.
Goodness sakes, keep firing.
I know. I would just be like railing away at it.
Now, why would the Borg be in such a hurry to flee from Earth? Wouldn't they just be assimilating every ship that came across and staying on Earth and trying to live out their mission to
establish
Earth?
Like a base on the dark side of the moon or something?
Anything.
I think their first priority is to establish a link with the collective. They probably needed to let's strategically. It makes sense to just get out of there real quick, get your ship up to date, and contact the collective.
Right. I just don't think they'd ever go all the way back to the Delta Quadrant. I think they would find like one of the Rigel planets and just start assimilating thousands of people a day. And it'd be like your zombie apocalypse.
We don't know that that's not their plan, right? They're looking to assimilate this ship for parts and people.
Yeah.
They're not exactly fleeing. They're on a mission of acquisition, so to speak.
They could very easily build another sphere within a couple years, right? And staff it, and then they could just roll over every single Alpha Quadrant power.
I'll tell you what, JT, I know this guy Palpatine. He's got this place called Exegol. They can just pull chips are basically just growing right out of the ground there. Jeremy, you ever
right out of their ass? Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Perfect inflection. By the way, like, we've talked about how the transport team was heavily armed and they were overwhelmed anyway. So the doctor decides that he shouldn't worry either. I had to go through all of my discs on my CD player rack from Bed Bath & Beyond. Look, it's a conspiracy theory, guys.
Now,
I would point out the Vulcan Science Academy has determined that time travel is impossible.
Right. I would just bring that up if I were her and just walk away. Be like, we're
I
done.
was saying that to the TV during this whole episode. This was like when my dad used to yell at Billy Martin for being a drunken asshole. See, this is ridiculous. This guy should be borging out like crazy. He's got the implants growing on him already.
Yeah.
They never saw a Tarkalian before. The research team was heavily armed, but they were overwhelmed. I'm just going to, like, half-ass it here. It's a good thing they keep changing their mind back and forth about who to assimilate. Good thing they only try to assimilate Phlox.
Not the human they just threw against the wall.
Right.
If it were up to me, I would be assimilating to Paul first.
Yeah,
like, you want
mules into her.
She'd be like your new queen. She'd be your temporary queen, right? Prime specimen.
Nobody notices he has 2 huge gashes in his neck. Okay, Archer does. I think they blew most of their budget for the season on this episode.
I think so.
This and
the finale.
This is a more exciting episode as far as effects and stuff like that than Shockwave was. Shockwave, which I cannot remember anything about what the Shockwave even was. Warp 30 time space distortion.
Did it just freeze for?
No, mine's still going, and I'm watching in the cinema. Sean, is your cinema working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We hit the refresh, JT. The worst part about my morning is when my Cosme started to work. Thanks a lot for Camp Candy, Jerry.
Yeah, that was a particular low point for John Candy. He must have needed the money.
For food.
Too bad it couldn't have been for liposuction.
Well, we're watching this and like there's nothing to do but IMDb who's on it, see if there's other famous people in it. And you see like pictures of John Candy, you see pictures from his last movie, and you're like, whoa. Like 400 was a distant memory.
God, he was huge. Shit.
Archer?
No, John Candy.
Oh yeah. Oh, did you look at the picture from Wagons East?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, and he just looks terrible. You can tell from looking at his face that there's something wrong with his circulation. And you know what the other disturbing thing is? He's been dead for so long, but when you look at him, he's so much younger than we are.
He was only 43.
Yeah, and he looks young in the face.
Well, that's the fat.
He was clocked at 300 pounds in 1990. He died in 1994. I'm guessing he put on 20 pounds a year until he died.
He was more than 300 pounds in that picture.
I'm saying he blew
that's
past 400
pushing
by that
that's
picture.
pushing 400 or 450 because he was a tall guy too.
There's no way he was sitting on a real horse. It would have killed it.
Yeah, no,
that was a prop horse.
He was propped up on the prop horse.
How did his wife not say anything to him? Was she like looking at the bank account and like looking at him? She's like, have some more gravy, John.
Probably.
Yeah, this ship has big Jeffries tubes. It's a correct observation. We spent a whole episode in the catwalks, Jeffrey tubes. They're really big. There's like a whole disco up in the nacelles.
I do like that in this series they do reference the Jeffries. Archer mentions Jeffries when he designed the NX class or something.
Yeah, he's one of the designers of the NX class. I guess one of them's also Cochrane, right? Because he's the one who designed the engine. Or I guess Henry Archer designs the final version of the engine. By the way, I want to point out here that we are edited out of sequence with the shielding.
Yeah.
Now, no assimilation attempted. You know, you could use some friends right now. Oh, good thing they got him right there. Huh? In this episode, they treat the actual crew like the collector's items that Mark D with the C has in his house. They don't want to open the box or turn them into Borg.
Right.
Now I'm seeing Mark D with the C as a Borg, like walking around, like making sure Archer's sealed in his box correctly.
You know, at this period of time, a projectile weapon probably would have stopped the Borg. But I've also wondered, and this might totally ruin the Borg, why don't they ever use grenades or flamethrowers? Because I would think a flamethrower
stop kinetic weapons.
The flamethrower? I don't know about that.
It could probably stop the flamethrower because it could stop the thermal energy, but the kinetic weapons, we saw Picard shoot him with a Tommy gun.
Right.
That was great, by the way, that effect.
Yeah.
I like also, like, Archer's a little bit hesitant to take life.
They already did that in Voyager, by the way.
Blew people out of the Jeffries tubes?
Out of the airlock, yeah.
Good way to get rid of the Borg. Did they do it with Borg?
That was a really good example of him being a good captain right there.
It was. I agree. The thing is, he's more recalcitrant to kill than he's been in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Hoshi should be scared shit, and I would not be letting anyone as good looking as Hoshi near the doctor.
Why is the ensign doing the Uber Eats?
Because Cutler quit. Like, Hoshi, no. I want a 7 or lower going down to feed the doctor. You're too hot, Hoshi.
It's funny. Whenever I eat, my cellular metabolism slows down, and it just goes right to my gut.
You're not denobulin. Why are you wearing a phase pistol? So that the camera can linger on Hoshi's ass. And it didn't. Just we had a perfect opportunity. You want to go into the decon chamber?
I know
Hoshi?
that's how she was reading it. That's exactly how I picked it up. It's like, there's going to be a couple hours till we catch up to that transport.
I think again, like, this was a J.J. Abrams incident where somebody's wife like watched the show and they're like, they don't have energy, like sexy energy. You got to go with friend energy here, because this relationship never culminates. By the way, do you like how they've stuck with the trait of anything that Hoshi overcomes, then she loves it? She was afraid of guns, now she always packs. She was afraid of the transporter, now she's like a transporter junkie. She's afraid of away missions, now she volunteers for everyone. She's the most arcing character in this show. Hoshi has not just curves, but arcs as well.
Duh.
I think Linda Park is only like 46 too. If she hears this, Linda, you look great. Thanks for the opening. Well, if you fire holographic bullets, is that a joke about Star Trek First Contact? Right?
Yeah, it is.
It is. I view this episode as an apology for the movie. They're trying to erase their movie. They know it sucks.
Is it the same people, though?
Yeah.
A couple.
You think they're like, that's the last time we give Carrie Fisher $500,000 under the table without seeing the script first. She obviously spent the money on drugs and we had to make that movie.
Is this seat taken? Dude, you're the only two in the...
I always like to say this about Star Trek, because these guys are Star Trek writers, and that means they love Star Trek, and they were sciencey, that means they were nerds. So, like, interactions between guys and hot chicks are always weird, like, because they don't know how to talk to them either. They only learned how to talk to women when they had been Star Trek writers for a couple of years and got a Maserati.
He's also the captain, so he doesn't need to ask. He could just sit. That would be the true alpha move.
You know what? He's also a human and she's a Vulcan. He should just sit down and be like, if he wants to piss on the floor to mark his territory, he can. It's his fucking ship.
That. Or there was no one sitting in the chair, so it was logical to assume that it was open.
I think that was his conversation opening.
We're hyper-analyzing this, but we've got nothing else to talk about in this show for the next 4 or 5 minutes. So
yeah, they really did slow this episode down for no reason. It's just to shoehorn in our heroes.
Yeah.
Our heroes are lost in this story. They are just jammed into this story. This is starting to annoy me.
Phlox hasn't had anything to drink in a few hours. His hands starting to shake.
Scotty R37 in the morning.
Sean got that.
What? Susan!
Oh, God.
We catch up to your comments. It's been a bit. All the comments from the trailer for Soy Trek.
See, I mean, he's basically going to give himself radiation like you would against cancer. And, with your brain turned off, this makes sense. But I would like to think by this stage, they've cured cancer, right? So there would be another thought process beyond how they could eradicate the nanoprobes besides just
these
irradiating
comments
the hell
for
out of yourself.
Strange New Worlds trailer are great. They're all great. It was filmed in Toronto, but they walk past New York landmarks. They do film in Canada. Hello, Dad.
Oh, and this does not feel good to my ears. Oh.
Yeah, no, their sound effect is terrible. We've had a few terrible sound effects go on for too long in a few
folks
episodes
on the
of the
show here
for
that. That was hard to listen to.
You know, to be honest with you, they've had a few moments in this show where they've played horrible noises for a little too long, haven't they?
Yeah. I like how cool that looks. They had to have some inventiveness to create a weird Borg ship that they're slowly morphing, right? From other stuff.
I haven't laughed so hard I haven't laughed so hard at comments since the middle of the week when I watched a video called Celebrities You Didn't Know Were Latina. Rebecca Black, who sings Friday Night, guys, and Snooki.
Oh, boy. How wonderful.
Well, I'm just glad Snooki's not Italian, but I am Latino as well, so, oh, well.
I do like the thought behind this ship and how they've modified it. I would know I was just saying that, but a little bit of inventiveness. Your ship is done by this point, by the way, especially back then.
Yeah.
Your whole ship is done. You might as well blow it up now.
Wes Cagle
your computer's been backdoored and Trojan horsed and every other kind of vulnerability.
Good thing they snapped it on after they said their name. They don't record incoming audio in this century. It's too complicated, right?
Well, this is smart of the Borg finally for the first time to go after this ship, which was designed to go warp 5. You probably could move over some parts and pieces and make your ship a warp 8 ship. Something like that.
Or even a warp 12. I mean, they're Borg. The thing is shown every year at McMurdo Sound in Antarctica.
Paul's like, it's illogical to pull out.
Oh, don't worry, Doc. It's the best of both worlds, don't you know?
Yeah.
You'll love it.
He really should just give himself like a super dose of don't feel anything happy time.
Right.
The Bionars were my favorite season 1 aliens for TNG.
Oh, yeah, they're cool.
The only ones that were different and interesting and weird enough to really pass muster. And I do agree that they were weirdos, but their episode was so much fun. Does anyone remember the name?
1100111011.
Yeah, it's like an endless period, like piece of binary. It's like 1000111000111001.
Now they do their best to immediately upstage every single episode of Voyager where Admiral or Captain Janeway is going around a Borg ship.
Yeah, Captain Janeway would be proud with how easy it is for them to deal with these Borg. Gavin, that's great. I guess, yeah, the reason why it doesn't make sense for them to scan for anything, Mark Harkness, is because they saw it explode to tiny little atoms. That's why they didn't scan. This is a different Borg incursion that didn't go well on its own. The Borg dropped out of warp, the ship blew up, and it crashed on the North Pole. These are like pirate Borg, unaffiliated with the rest of the collective. They sent out their weakest. You know, when the Delta Quadrant sends us their Borg, they're not sending their best anymore. They're not sending the Borg Queen. They're not sending Locutus. They're not sending Hugh. They're sending Tarkelians. They're sending Arctic researchers. And some, I'm sure, are very fine people. But they're not sending their best anymore.
According to Memory Alpha, the director David Livingston had a bunch of trouble with pacing on this episode.
Oh, no shit.
Someone else forced in the scenes with Phlox and Reed just to fill out time.
And it shows.
Wow, what a horrible fucking decision.
Apparently, he was coming up almost 10 minutes short.
Oh, they've been boarded in their C deck.
Yeah, they would have been a good 10 minutes short. They did everything they could not to have... If this episode was that deficient, they should have held off on it longer.
But I love how their primitive phase pistols do better than the Phaser Type 2 in TNG.
Well, they didn't turn on their shields for Archer. He wasn't special. He's not shield worthy. In the world of the Borg, getting shot by someone with a phase pistol when you have your shield on is like being sponge worthy in Seinfeld. You're not shield worthy. Now they are. See, these guys are shield worthy.
The Borg look good.
They do.
Yes.
They've had so much practice at this point between Voyager, the movies.
We have movie quality Borg uniforms, exactly, that aren't that old. How come they didn't, why wouldn't you assimilate? It's too bad Worf never thought of that, huh?
I would have laughed so hard if they had taken a cue from Data and one of them just started saying, Stop it.
I was thinking that. I was just thinking that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
You know, as I keep thinking about this, what you see, they won't turn on their shields now. He's not sponge worthy.
Wait, why do their phasers work again all of a sudden?
Because Archer's not sponge worthy. They don't want a relationship with Archer. They want a relationship with the security guys.
Well, some of them are on the Enterprise and some of them are on the Borg ship. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
Wouldn't they
can't
communicate.
With each other?
They would send this.
The problem is it was edited out of sequence.
They would have transmitted how to do that to the other Borg.
By the way, they used the line they've adapted as though they'd seen it before. They weren't like, Captain, They've never seen personal fucking shielding. How come they're taking it in stride?
Punch it.
Damn. I mean, that was the best part. This is the best part of the episode. By the way, I thought it was a good CGI explosion. It's just the right size to enable the rest
pretty
of the
much.
plot. Well, it looks weak. You know it's not going to do it. It's not going to solve all their problems. The one thing I like in this is that T'Pol is the most ready to kill these things of anybody. She's the one who wants to get rid of all the Borg. Good thing they just left on their own, huh?
Well,
rather than assimilating the crew.
They had to go back and fix the ship.
They could have taken this one so easily.
Yeah. Gone to the bridge, gone to engineering, raised the temperature a little bit.
How come they didn't generate a queen?
Well, that's what I was saying. Why didn't they go after T'Pol first?
That was a good effect, too.
Yeah, but there's far too many pieces.
We have a female Borg. All right, one of the first 3 people was Borg.
Yeah, but she's not queen material like T'Pol.
She had pretty big boobs. I know her face wasn't great. I mean,
Phantom Outsider in the theater. Oh no, it's the Cybermen. No.
They're not Cybermen, they're space zombies. And I'm putting my log and all of his medical records into this USB stick that definitely won't get lost.
And we have all this extra Borg technology left on the ship deactivated that we totally could use to better our own systems really quickly. That we're never going to use.
The cutscene should have been Archer at Starfleet headquarters with Vaughn. He's like, we have this technology. And Vaughn's like, we have top men looking at it. What do you mean?
Top men. Then Chow comes in from Section 31 and just takes it.
By the way, if I was Indiana Jones when they said that to me, top men, I would have said, the hell would a bottom like you know about that, motherfucker? Want my arc?
No, they weren't ass men. They were top men.
I think now I'm realizing why my dad kind of stifled a laugh at that part of the movie.
It's going to tell them how to find them.
But the message never gets there. And the only way that the Borg find out about humanity is either Q introducing them and then the Battle of Wolf 351, or you get this Hansen's retconning of everything. It's very complicated and all over the place.
359. I was with Admiral Hansen that day.
What we don't know is what we know is that message never made it. So who cares?
I think I did the math and it would get there 20 years after the episode in question. All right. Whoa. Okay. Well, Sean, before we really get into this, guys, we just watched Enterprise episode Regeneration. We all have different feelings, but the one of us who decided they would try to flush all other Star Trek out of their mind before watching this one is our own Sean Carter. Sean, you watched Star Trek out of your mind to watch this with your brain on chill, literally, and on pause. And welcome back to the YouTube, everybody, and thank you so much for returning. And Mr. Phobos, hello, sir. It's good to see you. And Sean, you kept your mind hermetically sealed from this. Go ahead and give me your impressions. What do you think of this just as a one-off, 1 hour space adventure?
Okay, well, first of all, hail to Theta of the Grid, who's here. She's saying hi to us.
Hey, Theta.
And it's Phobos. Hi, it's Phobos. Okay, if I'm going to grade this on its own thing, I give it a B+ on its own. It did what it needed to do well. It followed some tropes that we're used to seeing, but there was good tension. I liked Archer's character in the show. He was a good captain in this. He didn't shy away from a tough decision to space those two people, and he
sufficient regret afterwards too.
Yeah, and I mean, he knew that, like, hey, when he came to the realization, there isn't anyone over there that we can help anymore. But like other aliens movies, this does suffer from the common tropes of, you got a naive idiot that's like, oh, let me just experiment with this thing that's coming alive. And then I'm surprised. Really be? Yeah, I'm surprised when it opens its eyes and comes at me, even though I've been seeing its cells regenerate for the last few hours. You have to have an idiot for stories like these, or a collection of idiots to make them work. And we did get that. But it's still,
I felt like I was one of them as witness to this 3 times in one day. I watched this episode.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to take this down to a B- because the writers could have come up with a more clever way to have the Borg there. Like maybe just an escape pod or part of the ship just fell in, not the entire thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, You gave the canned version of the review. Think about your Star Trek fan version of the review and give your grade right before me, and we'll start with JT on the actual with Star Trek. So it was good to have your perspective without Star Trek.
Okay.
And so now you can turn the Star Trek mechanisms in your brain back on, sir. And JT Kirk, Mr. Kirk, the M5 computer got us some valuable information from the Starfleet database. I don't think this episode can exist in a world that has Star Trek First Contact. What did you think? How'd you like this episode? JT?
Is he here?
I'm just getting back.
JT just
Sorry.
He had the. Okay, I'll let me rephrase it. JT, we just watched the episode. Sean watched it with his brain on hold for Star Trek. His Star Trek, coping mechanisms are turning back on now, and he's enabled all subroutines. All Star Trek subroutines are enabled. Why don't you tell me, right now, give us your review and your grade for this episode?
Oh, certainly. So I remember definitely watching this originally when I was in high school and leaving this very confused, as I did have a very high opinion of First Contact back in the day. I loved the VHS, played the heck out of it, and I got it on DVD after that. So, I could say I was pretty into the Borg. When this episode came on, I thought, wait a minute, how does any of this even relate to anything else? I do not believe that you could have one continuity with First Contact and then this episode, which it seems like, unless there was a subsequent Borg invasion that somehow we mysteriously never heard about and it also failed, why is that? Why is that there? And also, why would the Borg even be there in the first place if they didn't know about Earth until Q? So none of this makes any sense when you're talking about continuity of the meta of Star Trek over all of these different series, and this never should have been made. I don't know who they have for a prequel that's a lore master at this point, and if they did have them, who overrode this? Because I just refuse to believe that anyone that was a Star Trek fan said, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do this. There must have been some other factor where some executive said, well, the Borg got us good numbers. Let's bring them back. Or we're about ready to throw away and tear down all these sets and costumes from the movie and Voyager. So let's get one more use out of them. Some
Storage
other motivation.
Expensive.
Right. The brain off review of this episode is okay, assuming that it actually fits. It is my definition of brain off. There are a lot of non-Borg activities where they would have beamed over far more people and just started assimilating everyone on the ship instead of what they did. That ultimately led to their defeat. I do not think the Borg act like the Borg here, and they would have beamed onto the bridge. It just started assimilating the bridge or beamed into main engineering, not doing all this weird whatever they would have done. We've seen that before in First Contact. We've seen that before in TNG. We've seen that before in Voyager. That is not a new tactic, and they would have. The problem is they would have succeeded, and so we couldn't do that. And my brain off review,
ragdolling the crew around the ship. No one's a match for them, and the phasers can't stop them. They had to want to leave, or because they would have won.
Yes. And the other part of my brain off review is the timing on this, and the disjointedness of this story is not is definitely not anything like when Patrick Stewart is assimilated and how the crew has to adapt and deal with fear and uncertainty and loss. This does not do that at all. And I don't know if that was necessarily the point, but you have the slowest assimilation ever with Phlox. I don't care what retconning and filling in the gaps you have to do. This was just not the Borg. It was just not the Borg, and the pacing was so bad with everything getting filled in you were wondering why any of it was happening the way it was happening. By that, I mean, why is Phlox having all these weird conversations? Why are T'Pol and Archer talking to slow the episode down? It goes on. And I know we could spend an hour going and basically EFAPing the whole thing. But my brain off review is a C-, and my brain on review, my Trek brain on review, gives it a flat F. So I guess the two would average out to a D. D for Delta Quadrant. Huh? Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I want to thank Vic Fontaine, who took the time to give us a wonderful $10 Rumble rant. I'll just say it. And we got 5 people watching over there. Thank you very much for making this your entertainment choice for tonight. We love you, Rumblers. And thanks for watching. And if you're over on the Red Band, we love you too. And we're not running any commercials during this show. So enjoy. There'll be a couple placed strategically. We take a minute. I'm only going to place 3 per live stream is the policy for now. I opted out of the new YouTube ad policy. We'll leave that one alone. All right, Germ, it's your turn. What did you think? We just watched Regeneration from Enterprise. Give us your review and grade of this episode.
Well, I can't do a brain off one. That's impossible for me. But it's a flat F. Every rule the Borg have, even the crappy watered down rules from Voyager, they broke it every time they put the Borg on screen. Even by Voyager rules, they would have conquered the planet in a day, let alone taken over the Enterprise. Their personal shields work when convenient. They obviously shot the fall out of order, and obviously with the stuff with the director not knowing what he's doing, he had too much action, so someone else had to come in and film extra scenes and extend scenes to actually make the runtime. So that fucked everything up.
They must have been doing this under so much time pressure because that second story was fucking horrible.
Yeah. There was, at the time, I remember people wanting to know, what would happen if there was Borg left over from First Contact? That was a very small segment of the community, and I'm sure someone told them that you don't want to put this into episode. Then some schmuck executive heard that question and said, this would be a great one. We have all this stuff. We'll save all this money on costumes and whatnot that's just sitting here from Voyager. And it just got pushed through. Failure on every point.
I got to imagine at the meeting with the writers after mid-season or something like that, it's like there was at least the shadow of the axe on the wall when they were getting talked to. I don't think they were brought in a very friendly way to begin with. I think that they were shouted at about their movies being unrelatable and their shows being just, especially the way Voyager ended, being just confused and not too Star Trek-like anymore. They make a full-on attempt to recapture the Star Trekkiness in the earlier episodes, but then they just get so weird. Yeah, Zephyr Cochrane with some Alpha Centauri, exactly. All right.
I think he moved there.
F.
I think he moved to Alpha Centauri.
Yeah. We can talk about that in a minute, but yeah. Okay, so Germ gives it a flat F. Sean, you gave us your impressions as a non-Star Trek fan. You've now been re-engaging your Star Trek subroutines. Go ahead and tell me what you thought.
I have my bit prepared. Ready?
Go ahead. Go for it.
I will now analyze Star Trek Enterprise Regenerations. Starting computations. This is not computing. This is not computing. Error! Error!
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, it says it all. Whoa.
This episode I went all so nomad on that one.
This episode was so bad, Sean had to fulfill his primary function. And apparently, according to JT, the Mexican Navy has just attacked New York City.
Yeah, they've invaded Brooklyn. Yeah,
it's great. They can have it. I'm wearing a Brooklyn Dodger hat, so of course they invade Brooklyn.
Well, the ship didn't dodge enough. That's the problem.
Non sequitur. They already have 7/8 of my building. This is the only apartment.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give this. This is an absolute F when looking at it from Star Trek. This is the first episode of Enterprise where I felt they were jangling the member berries at us. It really was like, ooh, let's throw the Borg in there. Horrible decision to have it the ship from First Contact be. You know what would have fixed this whole thing? It just occurred to me.
It's another Borg expedition.
Like let's say if they could have had a little flashback to First Contact where the ship it gets blown up, and they could flash forward to the Borg in the current century with Archer's century, pick up a signal, and you hear some Borg voice, Borg signal detected, launch investigation or something. And then they go toward Earth, and they could have picked up the story that way. That would have explained their phasers working. It would have explained them not going too fast. It would have fixed the entire freaking thing. It would have been actually cool. But no, they had to break every part of canon, do it F-.
And why do they regenerate now? We added a new power to them?
F-, yeah. The flock's super slow, yeah. The super slow thing, but the Denobulans can resist it for some stupid reason, and he just magically gets rid of them.
10 minutes short on that episode of one of these episodes. That is a major.
Yeah.
Did the writers screw up? Did the director wasn't ready to do it? Germ found a good piece of information there.
Apparently, as the director, his style was
green.
heavy action, go, go, go. And he never really paid attention to the runtime.
What do you guys think of my writing fix, though? Wouldn't that have made a lot more sense?
Yeah, it would have made a good deal more sense.
Like
not to sell your idea short, I think pretty much anything would have made more sense.
Well, true. But it would have it would have fixed. It would have brought Borg from their century. Would have given them a better chance to fight them. And let's say the Borg sphere in Montana, 2063, they send a subspace message. It gives ample time, 89 years or something, until the Borg from Archer's century gets to Earth.
Yeah, or just cut from where they're on the dish. They just get that little blip of a signal.
Oh, yeah, there you go. The blip.
Picks it up.
Perfect.
The problem is that in the episode, what is it, Q Who or whatever, the one where Q slaps him into the Delta Quadrant for just a moment, like, there's not a line in there where, like, Picard is like, and Riker's like, that looks like one of the Borg I read about in the NX-01 logs. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, Starfleet has their technology. Starfleet has seen them before. Starfleet has easily beaten them before. They have images. They have video. Like, this was a major threat. This species found on the planet that, like, if their ship hadn't have blown up in orbit for some reason, and it's got antimatter or quantum on it from the quantum torpedoes, and they were like, they member buried the movie so hard, and I gotta thank Radioactive. They fuster clucked Star Trek canon. Due to the fact Starfleet would have had this incident archived, the Enterprise D and TNG would have had access to the info. Exactly.
Yep.
Absolutely, Radioactive. There are
especially with that ship being so as intact as it was. What did they do? Just disintegrate it?
There are plot holes in this that you could drive a truck through.
Oh yeah,
you could fly Enterprise D through it.
One of my critiques of that opening is, well, I mean, yes, there's 100 things wrong with it, but if you're going to just let it fly through, why did them landing on the planet not immediately keep the Borg moving on that accident? Because if they were then frozen, but then simply thawed, mind you, they did nothing but stick like an EKG on these guys.
Good and thing just they let them thaw in the Arctic, out. Huh?
Well, but I'm just saying, if they were good enough to just wake up and start walking around and doing their thing, as soon as you thawed them out, why didn't they do that when they landed? Sure, it was cold, but I mean, you guys are okay. You don't need. I
think the deal is they unionized right before the attack, so they were just
maybe. But I'm like, the Borg should have been just sufficient on that initial crash. Why did they have to get frozen and thawed to then reanimate themselves to their task? They didn't treat these people
because
in any way.
The battery didn't go dead, and they were able to sort of self-recharge. They got energy from matter. I don't understand it either.
Like, and so then, if that were really true, and you had live Borg, they would have been live when they landed, and they would have immediately been able to start healing themselves. The cold would not have bothered them because their machinery would have kept them warm, and or they would have built fires or had heaters going, right? And then your ship would have been repaired, and you could have gone whole hog on Earth like 100 years before anybody else and completed your mission.
Ariel's got it. It should have been
in space, so they don't need the cold. Doesn't matter no matter what. Even if they
were fine in space in First Contact. How cold is it in there? By the way, this Ariel Bellay's got it. If a Borg scout ship by itself had malfunctioned and crashed on Earth out of control, and they found it right away, and like they got the security team, jumped them, and took a military shuttle with just a few people, and like immediately left instead of that whole stupid The Thing plot that we had, that would have been better than linking it to First Contact. They could have had the Borg if they did it like that, take it from the Borg perspective and have the Borg fall into like some kind of singularity, or show the Q just flick a Borg probe towards Earth. Anything was better than what they did. And as much as I like Sean's fix, I gotta say, you know what would have been better than your fix? Just nothing at all.
Yeah. Do you guys get the feeling though this was the first time they're dingling the member berries in front of us? I mean, up till now,
inventing them kind of.
Yes.
Up to now, they've done
more honest Easter eggs.
Yes, they've been honest Easter eggs. They're explaining. They're like, here's how the phase cannons came about. Here's how the torpedoes came down.
By the way, honest Easter egg versus member berries.
Yeah,
not a member berry.
Germ, I didn't hear what you said. Did you feel that too, Germ?
Yeah, it's definitely not a honest Easter egg. It's probably the first time in the series that they've outright say, look at this, remember and watch.
Yeah, we need a Borg episode to get the TNG people to be interested in this.
The problem is when you do an episode like this, and one of the things that just bothers your mind maybe on a level that you don't think about quite at first is this is a prequel, right? But it is still set years and decades and centuries ahead of the year 2000, which was
it's a prequel, but it relied on events from the future, so it wasn't a prequel.
Futuristic. It's still futuristic.
Future.
And
hold on, I'm trying to do a cloppy. I'm trying to do it was from the future, but it was from also the past in the prequel, but it's from the future, so that's out. Sorry, it was bombing.
You're fine.
You're fine. Maybe I didn't give my grade. But before I give my grade, I'm going to ask a question around, and then we'll continue discussion on this, and maybe we'll focus on First Contact a little more. But staying with this episode right now. Before I give my grade, I'm going to ask a yes or no question to the panel. Ready? This is going to be the first time I've asked this about an episode.
Ooh.
Is it Star Trek, JT? Is it even Star Trek? I struggle to...
No.
Germs, is this Star Trek?
In the most technical terms, yes, but it is almost as bad as the new stuff.
Sean, is this good enough to be called Star Trek? Is this Star Trek?
Well, I don't. That's the thing. We have to call it. It is Star Trek, whether or not I like it. It just as much as Spock's brain is still Star Trek, even if I hate it. It's just bad Star Trek.
I think that there is some Star Trek in name that does not achieve being Star Trek. I don't think this does not satisfy the criteria to be Star Trek, aside from the fact that the crew give good performances and act military, and Phlox stuck in that dog of a story gives a pretty good performance. What did they weld the Tarkelians into that? Like all of a sudden that ship just had survivors. That is crazy.
But, you okay. Let's take away the bad plot and all that. But you had Phlox who was willing to sacrifice himself. You had Archer making a tough decision. You did have some science fiction in there. I think it qualifies as Trek. It's just really bad.
Okay, I'm going to say no. Honestly, I'm going to say no. So, although your vote, every vote counts. I'm sorry, you're outvoted. I do not like this sleepy Trek. It was written with auto pen. What can I tell
you? Error.
All right, so I give it an F. I give this episode of Star Trek an F. Let me give you my reasonings. Here we go, really quickly. This is perhaps the worst story in all of Star Trek's original continuity. It's way too convenient, and it has a desperate feel. The movie First Contact damages the Borg. This episode, Regeneration, might damage all of Star Trek. It's only exceeded by the episode of Voyager where Species 90210 show up and destroy 16 Borg cubes and then later negotiate with Janeway. The Borg are in this weird and the Borg in this are weird and are nowhere near as powerful as the Borg in the movie for Worst Contact, which this episode is heavily at odds with. This is just revisiting where and how the writers lost the thread of Star Trek completely. It's not an enjoyable episode because it breaks so many Star Trek rules. The episode was always a fourth and long. About 50% of this episode is bit players that we don't know. Our heroes aren't in most of this. I found the connection to time travel tedious. Sadly, in this episode, we are sort of presented with a very stark choice. Which terrible story do we go with? Because Star Trek First Contact and episode Regeneration are hostile to each other. Only one of these stories can be true if they're from the same continuity. And they're from the same event in history, too. Like the event as we saw in the movie First Contact. So either the Battle of First Contact went differently, or this is some other group of Borg, like Proto-Borg. They should have crashed there in the Stone Age and been like Cro-Magnon Borg with like vacuum tubes. The amount of Borg sphere left over is prohibitive to what we see on screen at the North Pole. Aside from the fact the sphere is over the Northern Hemisphere, nothing is the same. In Worst Contact, the sphere is destroyed by secondary internal explosions, with the majority of debris actually shooting back towards the Enterprise. This concludes my presentation. F-. An incomplete or an F-. This bails out detained. This bails out detained.
Wow.
I am Ugg of Grunt. Instead of 7 of 9, you have Ugg of Grunt.
Part of the thing that they really missed doing this type of episode, like I was saying, it's still in a futuristic time space that you can do new ideas and cool ideas, and then you also have the looking back aspect of that Borg, and we neither get in this we get neither the what can we do that's new and inventive that we don't have in the year 2000. Like, we basically just give blocks cancer radiation to try to get rid of stuff. There's no cool or new or advanced ideas, and it's very limited to the 2000s mindset. Like, we understand Trojan horses, malware, computer hacking far better than they did back then. They take no leaps or imagination on how the Enterprise would defend itself. They take none at all. But then we
that
also
part of the script
missed,
was probably handwritten.
Yeah, we also miss all of the looking back on the fact that it's the past from the Borg, where the Borg would have all of these advantages that
I have to throw this one out.
None of them happen.
It occurred to me right just as you were saying it with the electromagnetic pulse. It's the plot of Die Another Day. Because he's infected with some sort of virus that's also it's also a mechanical nanite. And then he disperses a bunch of electromagnetic charges to kill all the nanites, but he's still infected somehow. It just occurred to me.
I didn't realize that. I did not realize that.
It's the same plot mistake as Die Another Day. Or no day to, what is it? No Time to Die, whatever. That last terrible Bond movie.
Yeah.
Die again today, tomorrow. But it was from the future.
It's by the lack of imagination, we get so robbed here, where an actual Star Trek episode would try to look at some type of futuristic or futurism and look at how we can apply that to a scientific problem, a cultural problem, a political problem, an environmental problem, some source of conflict, right? In here, none of that is present. So if you had taken out the word Borg and said Klingons from the future or Romulans from the future, species we've never heard of from the future, it still would have fallen flat. If you had extracted out all of the conflict of the Borg, it was still a bad story.
JT, are you saying you want an angry future Romulan?
One that comes back in time and blames. Yep. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Because the trip to Sherwin-Williams to get the red matter didn't work out. Next time, go to Home Depot to get your paint mixed.
Right. I mean, but you see what I'm saying, right? Like, if we escaped every issue of just the Borg, it's still an awful story because they didn't try to do Star Trek at all. With any of this.
If they had done this episode properly, like, honestly, like, the next time we see them, it's just like, we don't know what those things are, but we've changed our entire society to be on a militaristic footing because we're not turning into those machines. Like, they would have been
far
the
more likely
that
would actually happen. Yeah. Yeah. No one's going to be quiet about this.
People would have been freaking terrified. It's like, Did you hear about what happened to that Arctic research team? What, the ones that went after those old signals that we've been getting for hundreds of years and ignoring? Yeah, those people, the ones that finally went to check it out. I heard about those in high school. Yeah, they said that one day they would send someone to check it out after they got done checking every closet on the Andrea Doria. Why wouldn't you just... There are so many plot holes in this episode, and some of them tie back to the movies, and honestly... They're going to try to save Star Trek here. Literally, these people are attempting to save Star Trek, and like, this is the problem.
Sure, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Sure, it does.
Oops. Calm down, Mr. President. Yeah, like, nobody cares. It's this. They bring back the Borg to kind of member bury us into caring about Star Trek again, and I'm left to wonder. If they had gotten another season, would they have felt the need to put the Borg in again? It's like, oh, yeah, we got our, you know what I mean? Like in season 5, would they'd been like, we need to bring the Borg back.
This director was like trying to make First Contact Part 2. Like, hey, here's the next movie.
Now, this is where you break your little ships, Scott.
Yeah.
Do we have an African-American female cast member who can talk to him? No? All right. Jolene, come over here. You're going to set the captain straight, just like Alfred Woodard does in our great First Contact movie. Written by my uncle. Okay, action. Faster, more intensity.
Yeah,
who is this guy?
More intense. I told Kathleen that one time. I said faster and more intense, and she took me to HR, so I had to give her Star Wars.
They needed John Meredith Lucas, not George Lucas's approach.
Do you like that, JT?
I did.
Here you go. Make me some coffee.
I had to give her Star Wars. She went to HR because I said faster and more intense. She misunderstood me, but the HR committee just didn't want to hear me. I was canceled.
You've gone too far in a few places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
George, how can you make up for this?
Stylistically designed to be that way, and you can't undo that, but we can diminish the effects of it.
Yeah, I did diminish. I gave her fucking Star Wars, and now look what
she diminished the effect of that. Good. Oh my god.
She really fucked me over, that cunt.
You know what's funny? I heard that to our English friends, we say it too.
Probably the truth behind closed doors.
I know. I bet you that's what happened.
What's weird is you go to Europe and they say it to you if you're a guy. You go to Europe and they're like, hey, what's your problem, you cunt? And it's like, oh,
right, yeah. I may have gone too far.
Hey, maybe this. Thank you, Radioactive, with a generous $5 United States of America super chat. Soon to have a picture of President John Gill. Maybe this should have been a spin-off for Star Trek X-Files. I usually like it when the Star Trek and X-Files share some DNA, but in this case, like, it was a mixed bag of bad. It was an unmixed bag of all bad. There was the performances by our crew were good. The fact that Archer was caring was good, but like, I'm used to seeing Scott Bakula pull off a good performance.
Even Mayweather's single line was pretty good. Mayweather delivered a line in a Borg-like fashion. Using spirit with the episode.
Yeah, I was like, was he already absorbed? Is he just not telling anybody?
Well, he was absorbing something, but it was just off camera.
There was a protrusion on his seat that was making him very happy.
We
Guys,
did
on Pride Day, we're watching Horizon.
We did this episode something awful, but guys, there was some stuff that was not the worst, horrible, utter, just trite garbage in the world.
The props were good. The dead Borg looked great. The Borg looked fantastic.
Cinematography was good. Yep, music was really good on this. Yeah.
They did. Oh wait, no, they did it in Picard 2, or Picard 1. But this is our goodbye to the Borg.
Yeah.
This is it. Goodbye, Borg. No more after this. This is the end. This is the last time we saw them in the real continuity. Because this story is not good enough to be Star Trek, but as you said, it is Star Trek, but it does not satisfy most of what Star Trek is at all. It's not optimistic. It wasn't explicit. It starts to do a lot of the things that New Trek does in a big way. And
you're
welcome
very
everybody.
True there,
Look at that view count. Welcome everyone.
Oh, wow.
Do me a favor. At 50 likes, I'm gonna show my chest. So go ahead and hit those like buttons. Can we get we're at 20? That is excellent. I guess somebody put the fire in their computer out finally.
It appears my brethren have arrived. Hello, brethren.
Yeah, you know what? It'll be fine. This will be corrected in a couple of days. It's no big deal. You know what? Let someone wreck their own computer and wreck their own mind thinking about it. So anyway, how sad is the Borg avoided assimilating Pride weather? Yeah. They had a probe specially designed for Pride weather. It sounded just like a lightsaber.
Yeah, Trip came up in the beginning of the episode. He's like, "Hey, Malcolm, or not Malcolm, Travis. Travis, I'm going to give you a new seat there. No, don't touch my seat. I like it the way it is. I've got my own special modifications." Yeah,
I just put a small motor inside of this so it vibrates, sir. I talked to Trip about all the retro design, and he did on your chair while we had the OCD fever, sir. Polarize the hull. The Miskatonic Madman says, raise the shields. We can't yet. We don't have shields.
Right.
We don't have shields. Oh, you mean against the bot storm? Yeah, we're going to. The only way to polarize the hull, guys, is with likes. If you're coming through later, welcome to our roundtable discussion of all things Star Trek now, because we finished with rating this episode. And most of us feel that, it's really, this one is Star Trek in name only. And as I was saying, this one repeats something that happens in modern Star Trek a lot. And could they be the ones responsible for all the attention we're getting right now? We don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, we know that the attacks do happen more frequently when Star Trek is in season. So this fits with what we always thought of the classic Silver Mountain style attack. So let's just say we've caught attention.
Suspected that the Borg are the communists of Star Trek, right? They're in a literal commune, and bots are fans of communism. Tend to be. So
yeah,
you are right. They do live communally, right? And they are sort of like, they have no individuality. But you know what? How would you rate Star Trek episode Regeneration? Has 23 votes. And it's A or B, 39%. C is the next leading answer at 17%. DF is 33%. Sorry, that's your number 2 answer. 38% AB, 33% DF, 17% C, and I voted in this one on my other account before the show. I'm in the poll. I exercised my right to vote, and I voted my conscience. It's bad and it's not Star Trek, 12%. One of those votes is mine. So I thank whoever else voted with me. Susan Dolan says, Ariel Ballet, for proof, go back to the TOS and watch Shatner's weight. At the beginning, he'd be out of shape and somewhat overweight, and if he's slender and muscular, it's later. I hadn't noticed that. I hadn't put together. We'll watch William Shatner's weight when we watch the episodes. We're only 30 weeks away, and I think we may have seen the low point of all original Star Trek. Because I think at this point it was like womp womp, sad trombone, and all hope is lost.
There is some points in Voyager that I think are lower than this, but this is pretty low.
The thing is that this show had not started out shaky and bad like Voyager. In fact, when we rated like the 3 or 4 best episodes of Enterprise, Broken Bow is probably going to be in there. Broken Bow is one of the best episodes of this show, which is part of our problem. Whoever's doing it, could you guys swarm Rumble too? Because we only have like 5 people watching over there, and I could use 300 just to make me feel better. What?
Yeah, give Rumble a heart attack.
Yeah. Come on, put me on page 1 of Rumble, please. All right. You know what? You guys, can you discuss this for a moment while I just do something quick that I've wanted to do for a long time?
Sure. I just let me know what she says.
Maybe he's looking at that Mexican Navy ship. With
maybe
literal sails that hit the bottom of the Brooklyn Bridge.
That sucks.
No fatalities. Thankful for that, but meme worthy. Navigation. So
let me ask you guys.
Sure, go ahead, Sean.
Real quick, German JT. What out of 100? What do you give this episode? I'm giving it a 0. It doesn't even get it.
I did appreciate the thing with like the morphing Borg ship. I did like the music, the special effects, the costumes. Wardrobe was done well. I give it like a 38.
Okay.
And that's like the ceiling. That's like max score for all of the window dressing, right?
All right, I'm back. I documented what I did while I was away in the private chat. Don't tell anybody. It's a little thought. It'll happen during the day. Well, okay. Yeah. If I had to give this a number grade, I think it would be like I would give this a big fat 0. If I was a teacher, I would give it a 0, and I'm calling your parents.
Okay. JT gave it 30, and Germ, what was yours?
Your son's pocket. Hey, JT.
I would say a 14.
14?
Yeah.
Okay.
At best.
All right, I'll give it a 14 as well. It's just it does too much damage to Star Trek. I can't give it as many points as I want to give it for the cool stuff. Yeah, I mean the acting, the cinematography, the special effects, the music was great. It so screws Star Trek that it just wipes those things away. I can't you get to 0. All right, sorry, sorry, Admiral. You were saying.
No, I was going to say thanking JT for the gift membership he gave. Thank you so much, Mr. Kirk. And your
very
membership
welcome.
Went to our friend Fat Steven JFG, who,
of all people. Love it.
He's on WDW Pro. He's their thumbnail guy. And when we were asking about, we and Germ had him on here as our guest on Wednesday, and we're like, so what's it like being the thumbnail guy for WDW Pro? He's like, am I? Thanks, Steven. This morning he was on there. He seemed to be aware of it. Thank you. Congratulations, Steven. Welcome to our community. I think I'm a member of Steven's on a gift too. So thank you. And I appreciate it, JT. You're
as always.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You know what? I'm going to put a little bonus in everyone's paycheck this week for being so generous to the channel.
Well, thank you. I've been waiting for that.
Susan, maybe you'd see he's chunky and out of shape in one episode and slender and in shape in the next episode. What if they're shown out of sequence? Because I'm guessing, what did William Shatner just retain water sometimes?
He tended to start seasons out a little chubbier, and then as filming went on, he slimmed out.
That makes sense.
Because he would just sit on his ass in between seasons. He'd drink and chase women, then he'd come back.
Yeah.
Regardless of what his wife thought about it.
whichever wife it was. You know what's funny when you see William Shatner speak? And by the way, he's taking the. There are 2 stops in Texas, Sean.
Are there?
You should listen. I want to tell you guys. I'm going to sell something right now, and I don't usually sell anything but Star Trek and myself. But I will sell to you something. It's worth your money. It cost me different prices in different places. It was affordable. The most I paid for it was $150. The least I paid for it was like $60. You can see William Shatner in a Broadway-sized theater holding about 4,000 people. First, they show Wrath of Khan. It is the really good director's cut. That is not the last one, but the one before. So the Kobayashi Maru does not look intentionally like a test on the screen.
Oh, when's this?
This is coming to Texas. Go to Fandom Events.
Dallas and Houston in July and August.
Take the white.
He'll be performing in Austin in 2025. Oh, when's the Austin? Austin's the closest one to me.
I might go to that one too. I'm considering flying there with my nephew.
To Austin?
Find out how much. Yeah, find out how much the tickets are.
Well, man, I'm only an hour from there.
Really?
Yeah. All right, William Shatner, Austin. Hell yeah.
When is it? September?
I will find out. I will not use precious show time to look it up. It's having a hard time finding it.
William Shatner, Wrath of Khan Tour.
That's what she said.
Awesome. The Wrath of Khan Tour is awesome, guys. If you go see it, when you see the movie, it's like pee ahead of time and get to your seat 2 minutes early. Everybody knows every line. They're losing it. There's a brief intermission, and then William Shatner comes out, and I saw the tour when he was 92 and 91. I don't think this will be any different. William Shatner speaks for 2 hours, and he did not sit down for more than 5 minutes, and he was jumping up out of his seat the whole time that he was seated too.
Wow.
He covers his entire career. It's much more interesting than you would ever think, and both times I saw him, he said the same thing to start it off. I love you all, and I love and as far as my castmates, I love them too, aside from one, and that's all I want to say about him. Let's get going.
I wonder who that could be.
You know what? The second time I saw him, he answered my question. Or he gave William Shatner's version of an answer to my question. My question was picked at random, and it said, so-and-so said this, and so-and-so said that. And, Admiral Teague from Queens says, who is your favorite female co-star? All of them. All of them. All of them. He said all of them.
The ones who said yes.
He said all of them. He said it was he said it was like Nichelle Nichols. He spent like 2 or 3 minutes naming names and giving credit to different female co-stars. He does not really know the stories from watching them. He knows them from reading the script. He says he can't watch Star Trek still. He says he still can't watch it. He can't watch himself perform. I feel bad for William Shatner. He's the only person on the planet who can't enjoy Star Trek. Well, I mean, I guess there's some retards who can't, but
TNG he could.
That's true. He loves Star Trek TNG too. He's like, he knew all the lore in that movie where he was sitting there just spitballing. Like when they took him out of host mode, and they're like, "How did you feel about it?" It's like, I hated it. I thought it sucked. I was angry. Felt threatened. I was like, that is exactly how I felt William Shatner would act, and that is exactly how Tim Allen's iteration of the William Shatner style character would have felt. I like that Will Wheaton feels that Will Shatner was mean to him. Hello, Raul. Oh, goodbye, Raul TV. I forgot to turn on subscriber mode, so now we're going to get the hands-on harassment. Okay. Well, just ignore the bots. They'll be gone shortly. Who are you weirdos, and what's your problem? Thank you, buddy. I'm not going to get pulled off point on this because it's ridiculous, and you know what? I'm going to count on my mod. You know what? Zachary Cochran had inconsistent knowledge in the story. In Regeneration, Archer references a story from Zachary Cochran about how cybernetic creatures from the future attempting to disrupt First Contact, where he shared a Princeton commencement address. First of all, Princeton, really? He couldn't go to like a real college like Queens Community College, where great minds like Judge Judy and Ray Romano and Jennifer Aniston went to school. He had to go to some place like Princeton. I assume it's a good place, but I mean, could have gone to Lennox Community. I don't know, but that was terrible. I mean, if Stephen Hawking, who's our smartest person now? Everyone hates Neil deGrasse Tyson these days.
Well, he's not the smartest one either.
No, but like, who's like
he's
like,
marketed to try to be, but he's not.
He's a decent person at like talking about like space and stuff like that. I'm trying to say, who's like, designated science man of this generation? Like we've had a couple dethroned.
We're in between right now.
Yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy was a children's entertainer. He had a good run, but then the nation's IQ slowly got raised.
Oh, look at that. Oh, personalized message there. Did you see it?
Yeah, and this is, it is, and it will always be.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I would say to Nicole Hernandez, time is the fire in which we burn. And you know what? I bet, you're burning. You're burning, all right. I bet the person sending this really wishes that it was their time, but no one ever came to them and said to them, "Sir, please, would you come lead our fleet?" No one would ever say that to you because you're not a very worthy person. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is how you spend your time, whoever you might be. And you know what? I was very, very generous. Yeah, you know what, JT, good point. We probably could find out who it is that way, but then we would have to have them among us. Now everybody swing the wrench, be careful you don't delete anybody who's a friend, because I have to go check jail. There are so many people. We have such an overpopulation problem in my channel jail that I right now am sending shuttle pods filled with the accounts in our jail right to El Salvador.
Oh shit. Oh,
Supreme Court be damned.
Yeah, I got a new jet from the
Federation Supreme Court.
Yeah. I got a new I got a new shuttle pod. You can tell them that I got a new shuttle pod from Qatari 4, the planet Qatari 4 in the Emirates system. That and I used that to fly them down there. So take that, and I'm gonna put them all in Camp X-Ray. How do you like that?
I heard that planet was Class K. It's very arid.
Class K for ketamine, like the person who's doing this stupid bot attack is.
Yeah.
Listen, species 8472, like in Scorpion season 3, episode 26 in 1997, Voyager, species 8472 destroys 15 Borg cubes effortlessly. The Borg have been taking a beating for years. I think this is a while after the First Contact movie. There's been so much Voyager, almost all of it came after First Contact, that when we saw the Borg, I think that, like, I remember I was snickering when I saw this as an adult. I was like, try this again.
Really?
And and I really didn't pay a lot of attention to the episode to the point that I forgot almost all of it. I remember the first time I saw this, I was in and out of my room. It didn't hold my attention. Like, I was in and out of my living room. It didn't hold my attention in my apartment out on Long Island. And I didn't care. And like, I didn't really pay close attention. It's like, as soon as I saw the Borg, it's like, oh God, because I've seen like so many stupid Voyager episodes. I was like, well, it's the Borg again. It's like, what are they going to do now? Like beg for forgiveness?
Yeah.
It did everything but.
And you notice the Borg in itself did not give Voyager ratings. 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan might have given them some ratings, but the Borg stories themselves did not generate ratings.
I think if anything,
the should have put her in this story.
The Borg stories held on to what was left for Voyager.
Yep.
It kept people around. I don't think it drew anyone in. It just kept people there.
Yeah.
As far as Jerry Ryan creating ratings, maybe certain parts of her did, but
well, I mean,
that wasn't the acting.
She proved herself a decent actor, though. I thought she did okay as the character. She's all right.
For what she was asked to do, I thought she did just fine.
Yeah.
She's all right. She's pretty good in Law and Order SVU, but we're not going on a Jerry Ryan tangent here. I agree.
Jerry Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan.
Raffi's in SVU seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Really?
Yeah, Raffi is a major cast member in seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Was she a drug fiend on that show too?
No, she was a cop, and the show wasn't working until they got rid of her. And then all of a sudden, 22 seasons later, going strong. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 with Raffi, kind of sputtering along. The thing is, it was one too many characters. It wasn't Michelle, whatever her name is. That lady actually can act. I saw her in a different movie that wasn't Star Trek. She didn't have a big part, but she was fine. She didn't even bother to the point where she didn't even bother me. Because it was to the point, I was like, oh God, Raffi. And then she was just gone. And then the next time she came in, she was actually funny for a moment. She delivered a joke well. She was one of the people who dropped a joke. And she's in Anything But You, Anyone But You with Sydney Sweeney.
Oh.
I was like, let me get away from my terrible life of Star Trek reviewing and watch the Sydney Sweeney movie. And I'm like, oh man, she's so hot. I'm like, oh God, Raffi. But at least she was pleasant. But yeah, no, I mean, like you said, they couldn't keep the ratings with the Borg. The Borg have been, if you think about it, every single Voyager Borg episode is after 1996 by a good bit, right? They don't run into the Borg until 99. Mm-hmm. It's a season 3 or 4 thing. So they really just, whatever regard we had for the Borg from first contact, this almost, it's a whiff of desperation in the sense that the last good, successful thing in living franchise memory to them was first contact. So we got to run back to it to touch grass or something, seems to be what it was.
Right.
And they were feeling kind of bad about all the complaining people were doing about the Borg from Voyager. I think in some way they thought they can cure that with this, but they ended up just pissing all over the Borg.
By the way, I want to say something right now. If anything happens to me, and I guess I've given you all incentive now, I want one of you to take my place. I'm saying it right now. If anything happens to me, I want one of my friends to take my place. I never want there to be Star Trek community without a leader. And you know what? Don't remember me. Remember Star Trek when you do it. But we will remember Clobby. And you know what, Henry Reynolds, a real man doesn't cry to no one on X. What do you mean? When they can't get a job?
That's great. A real man cries.
A real man doesn't yell at women.
A real man doesn't cry to no one.
What woman have I ever yelled at? What woman have I ever yelled at? What woman have I ever yelled at? Back at a nun? In grammar school when they were smacking me with a ruler? Maybe. What woman have I ever
a real man
at?
actually gets likes on X? Well, I like your stuff all the time, Teague. So that must mean you're a real man with an X and a Y chromosome and not a fake man, I guess. You're not a eunuch? I'm trying to feel.
I'm just laughing at all these comments. A real man. So what's the idea here? You're trying to direct us in the direction of we should suspect the attacker is associated with manliness. So you're trying to get us to start fighting with the people who do the show about manliness. You think we're stupid. We're friends with Ranker Steve. We're friends with the people who do the other manliness shows. Why don't you go for broke? Why don't you tell me that? Why don't you try to start a fight with Snowdub, guys? Welcome to the bot grievance hour.
I remember I was told by my father, who is a real man as well, that
a real man keeps his wife. You know what? I just want to address this. When I had my wife, I kept her in money. I kept her in apartment. I kept her looked after, and we had, we didn't work out. So you know what? A real man keeps his wife. Yes, my wife was a kept woman. I wasn't a kept man like some who fight me to the last dime of their wife's money.
Well, what I was going to say, Teague, is my father
Get
told
the
me.
fuck out of here! You say that to Donald Strawberry. You say that to Donald Strawberry, jackass.
That or the outgoing premier prime minister of Canada. But hey, I was just saying, my father told me, and he is a real man, that you don't respond to people saying things to appeal to an insecurity about whether or not you're an actual man. So, if somebody's trying to goad you into a fight or a conflict,
a man ain't a man if he doesn't smoke the same cigarette as me, right?
So it's one of these obvious bait things that a small mind would come up with, and so look, I would encourage self-introspection.
If you're trying to reignite the conflict with the smaller YouTuber, I've already addressed the fact that calling someone a bad husband does not is not saying anything about their wife. If Sean, have you ever said about someone, my God, they must be a nightmare to be married to, right?
Try to match up a man's picture with a man's name. If you're going to talk about real men, at least do your bot attack right.
These hilarious.
I just think I think a real man wouldn't hide behind a bot account to make personal attacks, but that's just me.
Yeah.
It's a tie.
Well,
Quabi had 500 less subscribers, true. Mr. Roche. That's not. It's not true. You know what? I'll tell you right now. It's not true. It's not true. Our channel is even or higher. Or it's not
that's
true.
Yeah.
Look at the watch parties. It's not true. And I don't care. I don't care. I'm proud of what we've done here. And you know what? I'm not going to let this turn into bot swarm theater, but I will say, on behalf of my community, I don't really care what some guy punching up a bunch of AI accounts who probably should be punching up their resume does to me. And I'm not going to even mention the name of the smaller YouTuber that I had the issue with. They have sort of failed on their own, and they've latched on to me as the only light of success in their life. And I tried to say, that there was room for people to live together, but apparently that just either fell on deaf ears or someone is interested in keeping this conflict going. For the people leaving out people putting out the fallacy that it's Cyrus, I talked to him this morning. Why would he do this? He didn't mention it to me because he's the only person anyone knows who they think is capable. Someone is dropping a URL into an app that harasses people because they tried to use it probably to boost their own channel. Gee, that's funny, Marcelo Velarde. I have some correspondences that are very recent that say very much the opposite of that, where Ranker Steve was complimenting me and asking me for some recipes.
Is Marcelo a dead name
over X
on the picture?
Wait. All over X, Rowan Jaja says, all over X, I yelled at a woman?
Well, so you were yelling at CRC.
Wait, hold on. Were they always a woman? That's yeah. She can cry like a child.
Confirmed here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wait,
Roland,
hold on.
Confirmed.
Supernova 22's comment of direct the. I'm not going to highlight it, but because I think that's some speech that'll get us in trouble. But
yeah.
You know what? No. If the word retard is allowed on YouTube and on X, I don't care what you think. And you know what? Did you feel attacked when somebody mentioned intellectual disabilities? Is that why you're so upset? I mean, maybe I would suggest to you that if you are so afflicted, you may not have assessed what was said properly, and you may have just only thought we were talking about you. Because that's been most of the problem with the smaller YouTubers. They think we're talking about them, but they can't. They're not. They have a comprehension problem.
Germ, you said confirmed hit.
Well, thanks to Rowan there. The only person that Teague has been fighting with is CRC, and so Rowan confirmed CRC is a woman.
Yeah, it's logical. I mean, even
and here's the thing: and here's the thing: who even is CRC? If we call
we asked
who even
Grok.
is that?
I asked Grok earlier this week, and Grok said that CRC was a sock puppet account of Admiral Teague.
No, it said it was a figment of my imagination. It said it was a character that I created on my show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what? If you ask Grok who I am, about a third of the information is completely wrong. Like, it thinks I live in Wyoming. But
you don't?
And some other stuff.
It's the sixth borough of New York, Wyoming.
Maybe it thinks that I'm my brother Dave. I don't know, but I don't live in Wyoming. Did someone types in all caps? I mean, that was the worst part of the whole thing. And you know what? Anyone could look at the back of the channel's baseball card themselves. I mean, hey, Kwame never had 327 concurrents. And neither do I. But if you are real, you know what? Open up your browser for a while, give me a like, and at 50 likes, I will show you.
Yeah, sure.
509 likes. That's weird.
509?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
509.
Maybe keep your shirt on for that.
There's 2 dislikes, so it's really 507 net.
Sean, I have 2 dislikes. I'm going to retire from YouTube. That's not worth it. 2 people quit the channel today, too. 2 people quit the channel. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was down to 2473. You know, you guys think your lives are hard. I got mine and 2,473 others to worry about.
You know,
I'm losing my command.
Another thing that was mentioned was a real man gets his own time slot. So I just want to point out that Rachel Maddow had a time slot of their own. So that must have meant that Rachel Maddow was always a real man until she lost a time slot for being shitty. So
by the way, a real man,
I guess, yeah.
A real man knows that hosts are better. Like when I host solo, like multiple days a week at any given time. You know who I never see solo is the failed smaller YouTuber who keeps attacking me.
You know what? I reading all these things, whoever's typing this is pretty wasted right now. Like they are,
or was always dumb.
Well, the grammar
of me. What? Hold on. Igor says that there are screenshots of me calling Jill a beach. You know what? I was hanging out with my friend Jill the other day. Things are just fine with me and my friend Jill. We hung out at beaches, and when my problem wasn't that I had a problem with Jill, is that every time I hung out with Jill and we were streaming and getting a lot of success and a lot of views, and we would stream together, it was that the people around her or the people in the peripheral would become very threatened when Admiral and Teague would, I did it again, Sean. When Admiral and Jill would stream together. When Admiral and Jill would stream together, there was a lot of excitement about that, and it was fun to do. And what happened? All of a sudden, these so-called screenshots were released by Comic Relief Crusader, and he claimed that they were of my personal correspondence. Now, you would have to have lied to me to get them to release them. So the one thing that all of us agree on, him, me, and you guys, is that it started with lying by him. So he's told you he's a liar. I leave you to consider the rest of what he says on your own. I will not dignify it with a response. Jill and I are friends.
Yeah,
fact,
I'm
Jill,
just saying.
You need to leave your husband and be with me so we can be together, Jill. Please. Right? Because I don't respect marriage. Admiral Teague, a real man stays in a failed marriage. No. Sean. No one's allowed to have ex-wives, Sean. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Right? You better go get your first wife back now. Is she gonna get remarried?
No,
Stop her, Sean.
Please. No, she's engaged. I don't want her back. She's engaged. Let her fuck up some other guy's life. I finally got back on track,
but again, man. This whole only a real man stick is a cheap attempt to try to goad. I mean, we could just be saying your mama jokes. Those are about at the same level of goating, you know. And here's the other thing: if somebody tries to puff their chest in my face and do that whole standoff thing, I've never taken interest in that, and I'll usually turn my back on them because that's like the ultimate form of disrespect. But this is the digital version of that, and we're not going to take the bait. Like, this is fun for us. Like, it's to the point now where it's like, it's so
basically
easy.
You're giving us material. We're laughing off. Yeah. We're laughing off the bum rush of bots. We're laughing off your AI attacks. I forgot to turn it on into subscriber only mode. But at this point, I mean, really, you're just you're pointing all these fingers at you. I look, if this is not the work of the Comic Relief Crusader, and I don't know that it is, I will say this: whoever's doing it is his biggest freaking fan, loves the man, hangs on his every word, and knows every detail of this guy's fight with me that's so uninteresting that I've stopped talking about it. It's so boring that I stopped talking about it a week ago. Sean, did you notice that JT was like a whole week, right? Was that that was like a week ago now? You're like, wow, well, like 4 or 5 days ago. You're like, you kept your word.
Yeah, I mean, like, my only observation tonight is just the grammar is particularly bad, and it's just like whoever's doing this is just effed up right now.
It's spelled in metric.
Oh yeah, it's worse than usual.
AI bot filled it in for him.
Well, maybe, but there's some specific things there. So I don't know if they just tell the AI, talk about this and that.
Radioactive's a real man. My name is Admiral Tegan. I'm a real man. My name is Admiral Tegan. I'm a real man. I grew up in West Texas wrestling cattle. When I was in high school, I was so good they sent me to college. I didn't even have to go to class. I just studied football.
He went to college but didn't go to class.
Miskatonic's got it. A real man goes fishing. You are absolutely right. And by the way, since we're just like now, I guess like we're gonna hang out like a little bit more, and then we're gonna leave. But like I thought like we really didn't get pulled off point, and we were done with our Star Trek analysis when this like really rude and antisocial act that like I think is going to have deepening repercussions for the person you're standing for, honestly, is a little unbecoming. And no one really cares. I mean, I can riff off of your comments all night. It's like honestly, I could never ask, hey, OB2, Rant the Kenobi, you missed the fun. We were getting bot swarmed. By the way, did you know that apparently a real man stays with his wife? Isn't 70% of America divorced?
No, because not that high of a percentage ever got married.
Don't 70% of all marriages end in 2 years?
No, that was in the boomer generation.
No, that's restaurants.
Yeah, restaurants last 7 because you can kick out bankruptcy 5 more years.
Here, wait, hold on. I heard you're looking for a real man. Wait, I'm here. I can push buttons.
Find this man.
Meet me in the cargo hold.
Dare you?
No, in the 0G corridor in the center of the ship.
Oh yeah, we can float around.
You know what? Harrison's getting loud. Harrison, you want to give us your thoughts on the episode? What did you think? What did you think of the Borg?
Had a mechanical arm.
That's it? What about T'Pol?
You're saying that I crushed her skull and that I shot her?
What, dude, that was dark. What's up with Harrison? Now that he's like in his 80s, he's just dark. I don't know. Harrison, you know what? Go down to sickbay, have Dr. Phlox fix you a cocktail. Anyway, you know what? We got next week, First Flight, where we have Kill Bill Jr. Kill Bill Jr. is in the episode First Flight. Sean's Mayweather avatar looking
around
at me fawningly with those eyes.
First Flight is another character episode, I guess, but there's more than one of the characters that I think is kind of that's creepy. That is creepy.
He's staring at me with his cold, dead, expressionless eyes.
I can handle a fight stick. Why don't you meet me
Get back in the cockpit?
Why don't you meet me in the mess hall, and then we can make a mess in my hall.
Is that cream frige on that piece of cake, or are you just happy to see me?
Sir.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, sir. I just have just one question. I mean, if Mayweather's in the pilot seat, how's he gonna fuck you in the ass? I don't.
How dare you?
Don't see how that would work, sir.
You find this man.
Oh my God.
Question, because
Hoshi holds the record for Columbo, by the way. He's in
Hoshi is
4 episodes.
Hoshi Station is directly next to Prideweather's, right? Do you think they have like a rule that they never look at each other? Because if they did, they would get into like the bitchiest arguments, and Hoshi doesn't have time for that shit.
Bitch, you'll never wear that uniform like I can.
Just like,
now, which one would say that?
Figure that dynamic, Sean. Now you can't right?
Star Trek, whose line is it anyway? Is this Hoshi, T'Pol, or Prideweather? Bitch, you don't rock that uniform like I do.
Look, do you see what Buddy wrote? I'm sharing it.
He has he might. I know that Ironheart does. Oh my God, poor Tony Stark. He's named after Iron Man, now about to become Ironheart.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to be calling somebody Riri a lot in the next couple of weeks.
I'm just thinking on that bridge, they're a long way between planets at warp, cruising at warp 4. I'm just thinking Hoshi is totally like, I'm not having any kind of your high maintenance crap, Prideweather.
No.
You know what I mean?
By the way,
she purposely looks down at her console the whole shift, just in turns up that earpiece so she didn't have to hear him complaining about everything that somebody was saying in the mess hall.
You know what it is?
I'm just totally seeing that.
They're both upset, and they don't know because, they both freaked out because the last time Shran was around, after he called Archer Pinkskin, he had a few choice terms for Hoshi and Prideweather before leaving, and they both went to get counseled, but for the harassment, and it turns out that neither one of them has a case. No one cares. When they went down to talk to the ship's counselor, they had no they didn't. I think we have a transcript. Here's when Hoshi went to the ship's counselor. This is when Prideweather went to the ship's counselor.
Sir, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
If I could add a character to this show, it would be Counselor Trump. You just hang out in the office. And it's our weekday. It's our weekday rival. They've acquired some Romulan technology.
Then the other thing, you have to think that you have to think on the other side of the bridge at the tactical station. Malcolm doesn't want any of that either.
No,
he's just shut up, Ensign, every 5 minutes, or he's down in the security /torpedo hold, being like, "Yeah, Captain, I have a thing to go do down there. I can't sit up here and listen to this shit."
I want to rewatch a random season 1 episode because I think what happened here is our bridge seems more claustrophobic than it used to be, and Hoshi seems closer to Prideweather than she used to be. Because what happened is Prideweather is terrible, so we have to be able to see Malcolm past Hoshi now because all of Prideweather's lines go to Malcolm. Even when we have to use the grappler, we just say we need to get our hands on that thing, Malcolm. And he's like, "You've got it, sir." And then we see Prideweather deploying the grappler. We don't give Prideweather anything to respond to. He has let us down so badly. And he was promising in episode 1. I forgot he was such a bad actor.
Admiral, I was going to say, do you mind if, before we go on too much further, could you bring up the results of the poll? I found them to be very interesting.
Let's take a look at our Saving Star Trek poll And again, let me thank our good friend over on Rumble, Vic. Vic Fontaine gave us $10 Rumble Rant. I didn't give it enough attention at the time, but I kept checking Rumble, and I was a minute or two late. And I'm sorry, Vic. We do put it on Rumble for those of us who just cannot stand to be on certain broadcast platforms. People have preferences, and also I've found that since we stopped messing with X, YouTube concurrents have gone up. So I think X is just bad at everything right now. Well, sometimes DMs go through. I had to send today's pass like 5 freaking times. But no, seriously, right? If anything happens to me, I want you guys to keep going on Saturday nights and doing Star Trek. Someone pick up the torch, and if these guys aren't around, someone else should do it. And if my channel has great value and someone wants it and I'm no longer around, go ahead and make an offer to my nephew. I'll say that too. Why not? If this thing of value of mine is worth something to my family when I'm gone, that's acceptable too. I see things very pragmatically. If you want to attack me and waste your time, that's less time you spend actually improving your game. You could be becoming more interesting. You could be writing a script. You could be learning how to manipulate an AI to write a better script than using it to just bullshit attack people. And, that's all I really want to say about that. So, Sean, you showed us some amazing stuff with your new build as we get ready to land this ship. Why don't you tell everybody, do you want to show the video? It's so cool.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Guys, Sean has completed a build.
Here, let me bring it up because I did make a short.
People on the edge of their seats. You have 328 lives in your hands, mister.
Because I did make a short.
Is 328 one of the fictionals that the crew one of the fictional numbers that gets blurted out in TOS? It is, isn't it?
I don't know.
Why he's going for that? We got a flying pair.
Oh wow!
We did indeed.
Sean, you look for that. I'll take care of our flying pair. All right, Miskatonic Madman. All right. Let's see. Look what's happening to me. I can't believe it myself. Every week I'm here on Saturday nights, usually from 10 till around 12. Believe it or not, it's a flying pair that my buddy Miskatonic Madman gave to me. Flying away 'cause there's wings on that pair. Who could it be? It's your buddy Admiral Teague. All right. Extended a version. How do you like that? Wrote that on the fly.
Nice. I did like that. I liked it. I liked it.
And we also got 5 gifted memberships from
Kremlin.
Now let's see if the person who is doing this maybe got exposed in this. Did the person? One of the things I love about the gift, and Kremlin, thank you from the bottom of my cold shriveled little heart. But what I want to say,
I'm glad you qualified that. I thought you were going to say from my bottom.
Yeah,
Thank you from my bottom. I was like, well, that's an After Dark concept there.
No, I'm like Raiders of the Lost Ark reference at the beginning of the show. I'm a top man, right? I'm top man.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is like when someone gives memberships like during an attack, there's always a chance that the attacker will be one of those who catches the gift. And their identity will be raised up. So, I mean, but you know what? Thank you so much. Let's give Kremlin his proper due. Kremlin is part of the 1923 show and panel that was so successful that brought so many of you to me. And he is a great and funny guy and a friend. He is a frequent collaborator, and he's on Thursday nights episodes of Teague's Intense Talk Show, a lot of times at Radioactive. And, he's a big fan of our Friday and Tuesday shows. And did you see what the numbers I'm doing on Tuesdays these days?
It's pretty good.
Somebody caught my attention. Somebody captured my attention and said to me, "Sir, you need to go and try out this time slot." And what I had forgotten was I'd sort of been running away from myself all this time. You know what I mean? I always was on in the afternoons, and like nights kind of happened when I had to step up. And so when I returned to the afternoons, people very quickly found out. And looking at the last few Teagues and Tense talk shows, Tuesday 111, and then Thursday 111, and then Tuesday, Streaming for Vengeance, 78 views. Future Tense is at 500 views or more. And I have a theory that, and I want to thank Sean from the bottom of my heart for this one. Sean, I think that the reason Future Tense got so many views is I think the Linda Park beginning is like the most appealing thumbnail that you can hover over.
Oh,
like
maybe.
I think if people hover and see Linda Park, they start watching, and then the show catches them.
Yeah, we should just have it playing in the background.
Let's see this, guys. You're gonna love this. If you're anything like me, Sean and I and the guys, we share a lot of ship porn.
Yes,
no, this is not Germany. Porn. Ship with a P.
Yes,
not Shiza. Not that's in
we share. Yeah, we share
the Shiza.
Ship prawn. Ship prawn. We share a lot of ship prawn. Okay, so this is some ship prawn. This is the stuff we look at when we're in our own little bunker, as we call our room.
So I just a little background. I just finished this last night, and this is for a winner. I had a giveaway for a model, and I finally finished this thing. There we go. And this is the Enterprise. The guy asked me to do the lights on the top of the ship, like so. You see, those are glowing, and there it is. And he did ask for the little blue nacelles, even though that's not canon. Beautiful. People seem to like having the little bit of a glow in the nacelles, and you can't see it, but the end caps are looking like they're rotating and stuff. But yeah, there it is. And this guy, by the way, the guy that won, I'm going to do my first commission work. He asked he asked me to build an Enterprise D for him. He's going to buy all the aftermarket parts, buy the kit and all that, ship it over to me, and build it. He said his mother was a huge fan of Next Gen, and he wants to put the model next to her urn.
Oh, so,
wow.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Wow, Sean.
It looks amazing. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah,
the story and the ship.
This one took me a while, you guys. Like, man,
it's absolutely beautiful. Truly inspirational. And Sean does more than just concentrate the paint fumes in this shed that he works in, man. He works great. We need to get you like a sign for over the door that says like Utopia Planitia Shipyards.
Well, it's my garage. I will open the door.
Your garage is Utopia Planitia. Yeah, but you know when Hank Hill goes into his garage to craft, he accidentally gets high on the fumes every single time. How many episodes of King of the Hill does that happen?
I might have huffed a few. Might have huffed a little bit of paint there.
I saw the first coming attractions for Paramount Plus King of the Hill.
Oh, wow. Oh, really?
Channel members, there will be watch parties.
Oh,
and I have a funny feeling the panel will show up to that one. Yeah.
Nice.
I have a funny feeling we'll have a nice mix of both panels at the King of the Hill watch parties. Yes.
Impulse power, head warp 0.5.
Yes. And subscribe to the Sci-Fi Model Guy, whose channel is pinned to the bottom of our channel, and who's, I guess we're going to start putting the Sci-Fi Model Guy name in the chat. Grok doesn't know that we're associates, so I'm going to filth up Sean, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, thanks for the compliment, everyone. Thank you for that.
He's from the neighboring ranch in Wyoming.
Yeah. And by the way, Carla Burton is also the second other winner. I had two winners of that contest, and Carla Burton was the winner. So she's going to pick hers up, I think, later this year when she's coming through this state. So I'm gonna get to meet Carla.
By the way, here's the policy: if you're a Doomcock wrench, wait, you're gonna get to meet Carla.
Yeah, because I have to give her she's gonna be out here with her husband. And
in Texas.
Yeah.
If that happens at the same time,
he must be a real man.
He's a real man. Yeah. Well, they have been together since they were like in their 20s. So yeah, he kept his wife.
Very nice.
Yeah, they're very happy.
Carla's husband
is the best.
That'll be fun to see.
Yeah,
Carla.
Krimlon
That's
makes
quite
some
a long
incredible
trip
stuff
for her.
with this.
That is fantastic.
Krimlon, send me pictures, man. My email address is in the Sci-Fi Model Guide channel. Send me pictures. I whenever people send me pictures of their stuff, I highlight them on my little podcasty show.
Don't send him pictures of your stuff, people.
Of your model work, not
you.
Well, hold on. Plastic model work, not your modeling work. If you're a nude model.
Yeah,
I mean, you
gotta be really
I don't care
about what you want people to send you.
I don't.
If Carla and Shatner are in Texas at the same time, I'm definitely coming.
Yeah, send me stuff. Yeah, I'll highlight it for sure. But
could you imagine that, Sean? If Carla and Shatner were there, imagine if you, me, and Carla all got to see Shatner together. Wow.
I looked at apparently the Austin thing I can't find, but he is up in Dallas, and Rob Wright is up there too. I'm sure he would like to come. The only thing, it's going to be on a Wednesday, which is PCB night, but I will definitely skip that to go see Shatner, and I don't think Doomcock would mind. I think he'd be like, I think Doomcock would be like, absolutely, you better go see Shatner.
Guys, I got news for you. If it's on a Saturday night, there won't be a show because I'll be in Texas seeing it.
Yeah, no, it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
Flights are cheaper during the week. Good. Mr. Shatner is extraordinarily generous with his time. He is absolutely shot out of a cannon. He has a lot of opinions and ideas. And when someone asked him about the new Star Trek, and his response was, "Well, they could say it's Star Trek, but it's no sort of Star Trek I recognize." And the place went nuts. Sustained standing ovation on that comment.
Admiral, before we go, can you look in the private subspace and see the question I asked, and let me know if you want to do that? It's third from the bottom.
Your JT's got a bunch of them in here, so I'm looking for yours.
Oh no, I right above. Go all the way down to the last message from JT. And...
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool.
I'm down for it. Yeah. So here's the deal, everybody. We're all going to tell you what we're doing, and this will be chaptered probably while we're hanging out on another stream in a little while. And so if you're coming through later, you'll be able to find the parts of the show where we discuss. And then I even wrote down when the bots got here, so we could have Admiral Teague loses his mind will be a chapter. You know what? I think we did a really good job of staying on point for about a half an hour after the bot showed up. We finished all business before there was much in the way of retaliation. So good fire, disciplined gentlemen. I would like to try to ignore them for longer in the future. I apologize to all subscribers for not going into subscriber only mode and allowing those ugly comments about someone that we loved and cared about. This is absolutely disgraceful conduct. It's disgraceful conduct by the person doing it. You know, people come up to me frequently with tears in their eyes, and they say to me, "Admiral, sir, a real man would never get an AI bot to do his attacking for him, would he, sir?" And I said, "No, a real man joins the Mexican Navy and attacks the Brooklyn Bridge." That's what I said.
Admiral, sir, I did find subspace intelligence on that, by the way.
Yes,
if you check your chat. Yeah.
I'm reading now. Section 31 never stops. By the way, if you got here late, it's only actually 120 seconds long, so it's about 2 minutes. No, exactly 2 minutes. I'm going to show you the little Star Trek movie that I made for this, and also Susan Dolan. Here's the deal. You can hang out here. I love having you here. Like, if you want a wrench, you can have one. If you want to just hang out, you can just hang out. But if you have a wrench with Doomcock, you can have one with me. You just have to ask, because sometimes people just don't want to. Just want to hang out. So if you want one, you got one. But you just ask me, and you know, you absolutely will bestow one to you. If Doomcock trusts you, so do I. All right, so. with that, all right, everybody, let's change our banner. This way, if anybody's reporting anything, we'll be fine. Guys, we don't give medical, financial, or legal advice here on the channel, but I will be playing the lottery because you got to be in it to win it. And you know what? Breaking Star Trek news. We just took a 22-year-old episode of Star Trek and we made it relevant. And we threaded it through to the other Star Trek properties. And we established a narrative flow through this to where we are today in our own lives. And we laid out a great timeline. And we told you, again, that we can save Star Trek. And, Doomcock, I hope will get my message. I'm sure Sean will tell him. Remind him during Strange New Worlds, I guess sometime in August, a few weeks into Strange New Worlds, I'd like Doomcock to take that poll again. It might call his hypothesis into question. Although right now I agree with everything. What was cool was Doomcock and I have different conclusions, but both of us agree on the set of facts that led us there, and have absolutely no, for lack of a better word, rancor towards each other over having a different opinion. And I wish that more people could be that way. I agree with Doomcock on like 98% of all Star Trek. Small differences here and there. Very, very small. Like, for instance, I say Kirk looks best in the green wraparound uniform, and I think Doomcock likes the gold command shirt the best.
Oh, I think the green is the better look.
The wraparound. Sean, what's your favorite Captain Kirk tunic?
Oh my God, the tunic? Probably the darker green one.
The one that doesn't wrap around as much. It's much more shirt-like.
Yeah. It's classy. It's a good color, like the gold on it is a good contrast.
They give Pike one. Puke has one. Yeah. This is the thing. It
goes with khaki so well too,
It's tacky.
Yeah,
you know what?
It's tacky, it says I can lounge, I can kill some Klingons, I can
loving Star Trek. It's Thomas Paine wrote about this in Common Sense. He said there are sunshine patriots and there are winter soldiers. And you will want to tear off your own arm and put it into a dishwasher like Bucky from Thunderbolts when we watch Strange New Worlds. But we love Star Trek so much that I think that people deserve a full accounting of the horrors of Strange New Worlds. And, on top of our other reviews. And we will not let them do this in the dark. Sci-Fi CSI segments are coming. We're not going to let them just murder Star Trek in the dark again. Strange New Worlds has been passed off as acceptable for far too long. It's a terrible show. Closing our poll, 27 votes and 509 likes. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Oh, it's down to 495. So 8 people change their minds, or 11 people change their minds, or is
they must,
starting to catch up to maybe some of it, whatever was. This is what ultimately happens, guys. Check back like 24 hours from now, and you'll see the real number. But likes that have gone down this way, they tend to stick. But who knows? I would say the likes tend to stick, and the idea that 495 people have been through this transmission in this stream, that doesn't offend my sense of right and wrong. That there's 331 here right now sort of does. Although I guess to people who say that I only have like 8 or 9 people when I have an unannounced weekday stream, this makes up for it, right? I have full engagement now. Doing great. There are no bot swarms. All right, everybody, what you doing this week? Let's start with JT Kirk.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Wednesday will be my next appearance that I have scheduled. If my internet stays in, I will be over on Dave C's. Hopefully this week, actually, starting Joker #1 from 1977 or 78. So, will be a great time. I hope to see everybody over there.
I had a blast with you over there, and I had a good time hanging out with you afterwards. It was fun. All right. Resolute Germ, what cartoon will we be voting on?
Next week's cartoon is going to be Fist of the North Star with special guest Curtis Shelby. And this Monday, we have the Monday Monster movie, Godzilla Raids Again.
By the way, JT, your pitch was so bad that 270 people left the stream.
Oh, I know. I saw that. I saw that.
Wait, good job, JT.
They're like, oh,
it's only the 130 real people who are here. Hey, everybody who's real, welcome. Now we finally have the real number, 129, just about right for my channel. And I thank every one of you from the bottom of my heart. And I love you. And I thank the 495 people who like the stream and help me polarize the whole by doing so. I mean, guys, the likes prove that when the channel gets trolled for some reason, people start to notice the channel. And if they go away, they go away. And that'll prove that that's technologically controlled too, in my opinion. You know what? Nothing's going to stop us from doing our Star Trek show. You know what's real? The love that everyone here has for Star Trek. Daniel, hello. Daniel.
Hey,
Daniel,
Daniel.
where you been? Where have you been? Daniel, you missed the bots. You missed it. You missed it. Oh, now Germs. My response to Germ's pitch was so bad that another 300 people left the stream. Sean, I'm so sorry. We lost 320 people on you. You want to go ahead and pitch your what you're doing this week?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll be on Pop Culture Breakdown. I forget the movie we're gonna watch though. It's a Western. I forget the name of it. But it's supposed to be good. Yeah, maybe fistful of days, yeah. But if anyone wants to join us over on the Retro Reels and Games, we're going to be playing some MS Paint Pictionary over there. So come on by and have fun and watch us laugh while I go and get some whiskey. It's time to
Admiral Hill, Grand Admiral Raider will be out there, or Von Ribbentrop, whichever it may be.
Yeah,
I did like. By the way, buddy, I did think that Charlie X had a great outfit. He did have a great outfit. That wraparound was really good. He had a bad haircut and a great outfit. But
there it is. Thanks, buddy.
Life.
But everyone pop in there. This panel is definitely invited. And Admiral, if you want to extend a link to Radioactive, that would be cool. Because
absolutely,
I'd like to see him draw.
What about Kremlin?
Kremlin's welcome, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I'll put one in the.
You send it to whoever you want.
I'll put it in the what do you call it? The 1923 panel. It's called the Livestock Marshals. That group's the Livestock Marshals, and I'm renaming the Enterprise group chat the Bunker. For when I have to yell at a woman, right? What the hell was that about? I yelled at a woman on X. How did I manage to do that with a typewriter?
I was going to say you typed furiously. Let me tell you.
Krillon's like, what? Where? I heard my name.
OBC's gonna have a couple of drinks. It's Saturday night. Cool.
Hey, at work. What? Yeah, what's the harm?
Kremlin, you want to play Pictionary? You're invited, Kremlin, you're invited. All right, we love you all. The chaptering will be up in a little while. I'll work on that while we're over at the other place hanging out. And you know what? I will be back. I don't know if you know this. I do a little show called Streaming for Vengeance on Tuesdays and Fridays from 3:05 till 5:15 every Tuesday and Friday. On Fridays, Germ is with me. It's my favorite show to do all week because that's the one where I know for sure my buddy Germ is going to be there. It's my favorite show to do. And then Thursday nights, we have Teague's Intense Talk Show. Down from twice a week to just once so that I can stream for Vengeance. I love that Vengeance.
It's a great name.
Yeah, the fastest bot deleting finger on earth, Susan Dolan. Is that
you guys did awesome, man, buddy and Susan.
Is that a request for a wrench, Susan? Say yes and you have it. Let me see.
Susan shall be a great wrench.
You don't have to have that responsibility if you don't want it. We had a thing here where I gave away too many wrenches early on, and it just it was a bad look. No one was wrong, and everyone understood when I had to take them back. It was just true. It was like people gifted memberships, and it was like they couldn't tell because everyone had a wrench. And also people would come into the chat who were strangers, and they would see a dozen wrenches hanging out, and no one would greet them. You know what I mean? Because no one was designated. It was just all loyalty wrenches. And while that's a decent policy that I got from Orville Nation, I don't know that loyalty wrenches really work. And it was too much pressure on everyone who wanted to keep one, kept one, understanding the new rules, and we're better off. And I thank the 496 of you who like the stream. We'll see you over at Pictionary.
In 10 minutes. It will be in 10 minutes. I got to get some water and stuff. So I thank you all. Andy Morrow, hey, you made it. It's good to see you, Andy Morrow, my friend. Give Susan a wrench. Okay.
you know what? I'm going to make this happen. You know, it's like a gang jumping, man. You know, it's after midnight. Something don't feel right. Through the night. Susan Dolan, Rise a Night. As once a wrench, as was your father. All right. So, you know what? We'll leave you as we found you, as we left her. First of all, the poll ends with 27 votes. The final results are: how do you rate Star Trek Regeneration? Well, it did better probably than I thought, but just about right. This does not match the pie chart in my heart because I don't think there's any anything to be said for A and B. 40%, DF 29%, C 18%. It's bad and it's not Star Trek 11%. A lot of big Enterprise fans must have come through here to tip that back to it. Is it me or A and B is the number one result? Wow.
I can see why. I can see why people would like it if they're not super into the lore and really needing Star Trek all to tie together. It's not, like I said, it's an okay piece of television with a couple plot holes, but you know,
it wouldn't have plot holes if it was in isolation. If it was just some random TV show we turned on, we'd be like, I want to know more about these people.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it was, you know.
But their presence in this episode was like pilot or guest level. This is like we were introducing another ship or something level of this. It's like when we get the other NX ship and we kind of send Trip over there and it's like, wait, where's this show going to go with this? You know, it's like that level of disconnected.
Oh God, if I was on that bridge, I would get seizures with that stupid light pulsing behind the captain.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
They always do that in Trek. Like, we need to make this ship look different. Let's put some really bright flashing lights on the bridge so people will have a seizure. Like, the fuck was that? It's so stupid.
Well, it's been replaced by random bursts of cold fire now all the time. When remember in Section 31 when they walked across the planet, the fire popping out of the ground for no reason, unexplained.
Oh yeah, it was like the Princess Bride. Yeah, the fire swamps.
Yeah, unexplained and unaddressed.
That was one of the movies I think I identified that it ripped off from, the fucking Princess Bride.
Yeah, you identified more than me. I found it was like every Alien movie, every Predator movie. It was so stupid.
Yeah. All right, I'm cutting out. I'm going to go prepare.
Yeah,
and I will see you guys all in the background. We're not going to play too long. Maybe an hour and a half at the most. But
that's all I have in me.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We'll see you. See you, folks.
I will leave you as I found you, Sean. I'll see you later. I'm going to run the video one more time, guys. Here's a little Star Trek video for you that I made for the show. It will introduce tonight's episode, and it's not the end, but it's pretty close. And I want to thank everybody for coming by. It's touching.
Sure. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
All right. Well, I still appreciated it, right? That's what counts. I want you guys to know it meant the world to me. Thank you very much. And I made this for you guys, my channel members. Here it is.
Unable to comply?
This unit is the ultimate achievement in computer evolution.
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
Time travel.
But if they changed history, why are we still here? Thank you for your attention.
All right. Before we go, I just want to thank all of you for being here. This was brought to you by the genius of Gene Roddenberry, the great performances of the Enterprise NX-01 crew, the love of this panel, and the support of fans like you, including RRTNZ, Radioactive, my good friend JT Kirk, Miskatonic Madman with that pair, and Crimon with the gifted memberships. Crimon! I thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. We'll see you in a few minutes over at Sean's. Guys, I think you've all earned Sydney Sweeney. You've earned it. Bye!
She was attacked by what appears to be essentially a robot.